Visit americasbestracing.net today. 3 races underway already here in New York, and Kendrick Carmouche attempting to win with every mount he has this afternoon. He won't have a chance to sweep the card. We're not going to see him in the next race. Greg Wolf alongside Andy Serling, and our feature today, Betsy Blue, on quite a roll right now. It's been remarkably consistent.
She's an incredible horse. 11 career starts, 6 wins, 4 second and 1/3. Done very well since Linda Rice claimed her. She's a tremendous horse that just shows up. It's rare to see a horse with such incredible consistency.
Going to see her again later in the feature today in New York. She will be the one to beat, as mentioned, for Linda Rice. That'll be part of our late pick 4 coming up. Meanwhile, out to Hot Springs, race 2 is next. 6 furlongs, condition claiming race. And Dixie Street, the 2. Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario comes in off a win just claimed last time out at the fairgrounds.
I mean, this is a horse. Here's my question. If this horse was being ridden by blank and jockeys didn't matter, couldn't this horse be 8-1 in this race? And I'm Joel Rosario's biggest fan, but claimed for $5,000 last time out? I got to tell you, I thought the 3 was the horse to beat American Joey, and probably isn't heavily favored because of all the money the 2 is taking. Not saying that Rick Street can't win, but I thought the race was more the 3 and 7, personally.
I completely agree with you. Now, with your logic, with American Joey, if it was anyone but Thomas Vance as the barn, because the barn's very cool at the meet, would it be a difference?
No, I think
those are horse favorite anyway.
I think those are great points, and I do think it's also important to say that it's a trainer that's won for 31 at the meet. Now, I'd also like to look at the 31 start. I know that you're not saying I'm throwing that out, but maybe we look at the 31 starters, and 26 of them were 20-1 or higher. You know, yeah. I mean, this is probably one of the more. This could be the most logical horse that they've started the whole meet. Yeah. He is 2-1 favorite. I'm 3-7 here. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, despite that, this horse is still favored. The slow meat from the barn.
Right. No, and it does matter. And obviously, though I'll tell you, and we talked about it quite a bit last week while you had abandoned us for sunnier places. It was a very wise move on your part, especially the last 2 days in New York. Giovanni Franco, he's very quietly had an exceptional meet at Oaklawn.
Yeah, props to Gary Stevens, one of the riders he's handling out there. Good to see that success. All right, here we go. Dixie Street, the 2 for Asmussen. American Joey, the 3 for Tom Vance. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Dixie Street broke beautifully and goes to the front from He's So Zazzy, and there goes He's So Zazzy and El Venue, and El Venue takes the lead. Top Brass now settles in second. Dixie Street and Kierkegaard are 3rd and 4th. Then comes American Joey and Chicory Blue. He's So Zazzy is alongside Time Heist, and the trailer is Fort Ridge. Into the far turn with El Venue just in front. Time Heist 3 deep. Top Brass just inside of him. Dixie Street at the rail. Then it's 2.5 back to American Joey and Chicory Blue. They both have about 5 lengths to make up. Kierkegaard is 6.5 off the lead. He's 2 in front of He's So Zazzy. And the trailer is Fort Ridge, and the leader is still El Venue. El Venue to the top of the stretch. 1.5 lengths in front of Top Brass in second. Time Heist is 3 deep in the third. Dixie Street is 4th, Kierkegaard 5th, and El Venue continues to lead. El Venue is a length in front. Top Brass has a final furlong to try to push on by. Dixie Street at the rail. American Joey is rallying in the center. Top Brass, El Venue, and Dixie Street. These 3 to the wire. Top Brass half ahead. Dixie Street through from the inside. Top Brass or Dixie Street or Top Brass, Dixie Street, Top Brass. Wow, this is an inch either way. Dixie Street and Top Brass. I think Top Brass got the best of the bob, but it is a second race whacker.
David Cabrera rider change on Top Brass. We agree with Vic Stauffer. Looked like the 9, but this is close.
Yeah, there was an awful performance by American Joey, frankly, in this race with sort of no horse, but Top Brass had the speed to get position that helped. Joel Rosario used all of his powers to give Dixie Street every chance possibly, but we have seen horse on the inside seemingly having an edge, but it's very hard to look at this photo and say it wasn't the 9, Top Brass, getting the money.
It's a 9-year-old seemingly outdoing that 5-year-old there to the inside. Top Brass for Carl Broberg, if it is indeed a victory. It's back-to-back wins. Will be the 13th win of this 9-year-old's career.
It's pretty cool, actually, when you look at that, right? It's a 9-year-old now with 44 starts, we believe with 14 wins now, and he's got more than 50% more wins than he has second and thirds combined, and that's kind of a cool horse, a horse who, when he gets there, he knows how to get it done, and maybe that was very apparent in race number 2 at Oaklawn.
We'll get you those official results as soon as we get them here in a moment. Let's get back to the feature today in New York. It's race 7 on the card. We talked about Betsy Blue quickly here at the top of the show. She is the one to beat coming in. She's won back-to-back starts for Linda Rice. She was 3-5 last time. Expected to win, but as we talked about, she shows up almost every time. 6 wins, 4 seconds, and 11 starts.
That's the thing about her. If you think that she's the horse to beat, then she is the horse to beat, because she's consistent. You can rely on her. It doesn't mean she's going to win today. It doesn't mean she's going to win every time. But in her last race, it was sort of a 2-horse race on paper between her and Ruvies and Time. Ruvies and Time actually went off the 3rd choice in this race, which was kind of a tell that Ruvies and Time wasn't going to win. So it became sort of a 1-horse race, but she got it done. And this is what, Greg, this is her 3rd start now in 32 days. But when Linda Rice's horses are going well, she's not afraid to bring them back on short rest.
Well, if Betsy Blue doesn't run her A race, which we talked about she usually does, but who can give her a threat even if she does?
Well, the logical one is Rosa Veloce on the outside, who could be the speed. I'm very interested in Let Me Take This Call on the rail, who I think is a long shot that I think if you first take a look at her, she doesn't look that good, but she's been running against significantly better competition and has had some bit against the track trips. So I thought Let Me Take This Call, picking up Trevor McCarthy, might be a long shot worth fooling around with.
Looking forward to that feature coming up later today. Again, race 7 here at Aqueduct. It's a good time to be in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It is Arkansas Derby week with all the buzz happening for the big one coming up on Saturday. Tremendous card. Let's check in with our Hall of Famer, Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, a lot of excitement in town. It cranked up on Monday. It continues to crank up. A lot of traffic on Central Avenue as I pulled into Oaklawn Park around noontime today. We're going to kick things off tomorrow with the carousel. We've got 4 stake races for you. That's a sprint race for fillies and mares. Then we've got the Oaklawn Mile, obviously a flat mile, and then the fantasy wide open after Wayne Lucas is in Interconnections. Secret Oath choosing to run against the boys. Going to take on Will Take Charge and a tough bunch to finish things off with the Grade 1 Arkansas Derbies, guys. But I'm excited about it. Got Maggie and Lafitte joining me here tomorrow. Going to have a fun weekend. Hope you guys enjoy it, guys.
We can't wait. It's going to be such a fun weekend coming up. And the extra intrigue, of course, with a D. Wayne, not just a filly, a D. Wayne Lucas filly in the Arkansas Derby.
You know, let's be honest, Greg. A lot of people are looking at the fantasy, the Arkansas Derby, the other stakes. The Oaklawn Mile's a fun race.
Yeah.
Greg Wolf is most excited about Garhole, the Archie bred, who's trying open company for the first time.
He's not kidding. This is my favorite horse in training right now. I think he's a star sprinter, Arkansas bred, it's going to be his toughest test yet, but I'm very excited
No,
to
it
see
is.
him.
I think it's the 10th race. I think it's after the Oaklawn Mile and before the fantasy, and I agree. It is really a fun race. But obviously, the story of the week is the filly against the boys. And since they put the point system in place, I think this might be the first filly that's tried the boys in one of these Triple Crown races. So we'll see. I guess Wayne Lucas was the right guy to do it.
Won with a filly, Althea, back in 1984 in the Arkansas Derby. Going to try and do it again on Saturday. It's going to be fun to watch. We'll have it for you live. Take a look at today's races, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. Races 4 through 8 ahead. Late pick 5 is next. The pick 4 starts in the 5th. We're fast in New York and in Hot Springs. Good on the track out there. Races 3 through 8. Still to come. Race 4 is next. Of course, you can play it all. Pick 5 starts here with Naira Bets. Get signed up, started. Go to nairabets.com. That's the offer. $200 deposit match bonus at sign up with that code right there. Stakes 200. And bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to nairabets.com or download again the app. $50,000 starter allowance in race 4 to start the pick 5. 6 furlong sprint. And the big story in this race, what do you do with Tell a Perfect Tale, who has just become a different filly in her last 2 starts?
Well, she's one of quite a few horses that Wayne Potts took over the training of, and they have improved sort of almost unbelievably. We saw one in today's second race who improved dramatically that did not run well second time for Wayne Potts. Tell a Perfect Tale, who is very lukewarm on the board right now. If she runs back to either of his last 2 races, she'll win this race by 100.
5-2, very cold on
trust
the board.
her.
That could change. Meanwhile, what a meet it was for young Dylan Davis, 27 years old. He's coming off the first ever riding title of his career, taking the winter meet. Can he keep it going into the spring? We'll be back. Stay tuned.
This proven son of A.P. Indy has sired over 50 stakes winners and well over 100 stakes horses. Recent top performers include search results, winner of the Grade 1 Acorn Stakes and a hard-fought second in the Kentucky Oaks, plus these standout performers. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. 2-year-olds by Flatter sold up to $625,000. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling. Going to bring in Richard Migliore here in just a moment as well. It was the 9 Top Brass taking the second at Oaklawn. David Cabrera filling in for the injured Christian Torres. Carl Broberg, and this 9-year-old has now won back-to-back starts, 13th of his career.
Yeah, I mean, it's neat looking at these horses. You know, we were talking about Betsy Blue and her record. To see an old-timer like this and he's still able to put together good efforts, it's kind of cool.
Race 4, it's pick 5 time in this 50,000 starter allowance 6-furlong sprint. Perfect Tail, big win with an 80 Beyer speed figure 2 back, and then ran another big number next start. Those 2 starts seemingly coming out of nowhere for this filly. If she can run back to them, everybody else is running for second, it would seem. Let's check in with Richard Migliore for more.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And, you know, it's kind of interesting when you look at horses, you're looking for particular physical characteristics that may point out the best distance for them. Now, the 4 T to a T is turning back in distance. And to be honest with you, I'm seeing a horse that I think would really appreciate the turn back. I just like the way she looks, very sharp looking, really strong hind end. I think the turn back's going to suit this horse very well, and I think she'll be a closing factor. I think stretching out might have been just taking her a little bit out of her game, but from a physical perspective, the 4 to a T certainly looks good. The 5 Cadeau de Pay, all sprinter, short coupled, really powerful hind end. Horses push themselves, they don't pull themselves. Pat Reynolds does a terrific job, and Cadeau de Pay, she didn't show her characteristic speed, or at least lay closer in the game last time. I expect her to be a little bit more aggressively handled today with Manny Franco. And the 7 Hey Mama from trainer Rick Schosberg, I thought she looked really good last time and really improved from a fitness level. I like what I'm seeing today. I think she took another step forward off of a big maiden win. Greg?
All right, Mick, thanks. There's Hey Mama. Yeah, debuted against State Bred Maiden Claiming and then jumped up to State Bred Maiden Special and won. But those numbers fairly slow. Can she compete against this kind of group?
I don't think she can. I mean, she has the speed on paper, so maybe that will help her. I'm not sure. It's not an advantage on this racetrack. Listen, she may have had the racetrack in her favor last time, but I didn't like her last time, and she won. And the story of the race is the 2, and the story right now is Tell a Perfect Tale is not the 3 to 5 she should be. I mean, she was never going to be the 9 to 5. She was in the morning line, and she figured to be odds on. Wayne Potts claimed this horse, and the first start she made, she ran her usual 52 buyer. It was actually the best buyer she ever ran. And then suddenly, with a little bit of moisture in the track, she ran an 80 buyer. And that was a number that originally they even gave it a higher number. Then she comes back with a second place finish behind the Norman Queen, who's really improved. And actually,
I don't think this.
I don't know what we're looking at here. This is definitely a different race. Anyway, Tell a Perfect Tale, she ran a 76 buyer last time. These are numbers that are 5 to 8 lengths better than anybody else capable of running here. The biggest surprise is she's only 5 to 2. Now, she's going to drop down later, but she is just dead on the board.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder why she's so cold. And even that, the last race when she got a figure 2 to be much the best in here, she seemed like she sort of checked in the stretch for no reason whatsoever.
She was lugging in the stretch. It was kind of weird. I agree with you, Greg. She was. I don't know what it was. I mean, maybe she was trying so hard to catch Norman Queen and she couldn't. But I agree, and I do think it's possible at some point. It's like the old fairy tale. She's going to turn back into a pumpkin because the worse she was before Wayne Potts got her would be 30 to 1 in this race. 30 to 1. Her last 2 races, the 2 of the 3 for Wayne Potts, she should be 3 to 5. So who is Tell a Perfect Tale? Is she the horse that we've seen the last 2 starts? Is she going to regress back to what she was? We saw that horse in the second race. Majestic Tiger is seemingly out of nowhere at a distance he's probably unsuited for, ran a career best race by a mile, and then he came back today and he was a mediocre 3rd. What can we expect? And the 5 to 2 right now is saying, don't expect a lot.
Again, first 3 on the card before we came on the air, all won by Kendrick Carmouche.
I can't believe he's not in here, Greg.
Not going to get an opportunity
and
to sweep this card.
And he's on a long shot in the 5th. He's on the longest shot on the board, at least on paper, in the 5th.
We're going to start our post break with Boss Kara, just claimed.
She is coming off the claim. She had been in decent enough form, but that decent enough form is probably not good enough to win here.
She was beat 14.5 lengths by this one last time out.
Who inexplicably is 5 to 2, and her paper form makes her 2 to 5. What price does she end up, and what does she do on the racetrack?
To a T, speed going long, will cut back in distance.
Yeah, I actually picked her in this race because I wanted an alternative to the favorite. I like a little bit of the cutback. The Nodas were extremely unlucky to lose race number 3. They ran the best horse.
Cadeau de Pay, Pat Reynolds.
She's possible if you don't think the 2 is going to show up. She was a little bit wide last time out. I just didn't love her last race.
Stencil, she's won 2 of her last 3.
Off a claim for Jeffrey Engelhard, who's been extremely live off the claim. She gets Dylan Davis, but this is a much better field than she's been facing.
Hey, Mama, who is lightly raced, start number 2. She broke her maiden.
If you like her, though, you better hope you get better than 7 to 2 because she's supposed to be about 8-10 to 1 in here. I mean, I just think she's a bit of an underlay if you like her.
And Wicked Happy on the outside. Leah Giramati comes in off a win. Took her 23 starts to break her maiden.
And the only way you could like her is if you're from Boston.
Yeah.
Because maybe you're Wicked Happy.
Wicked Happy, we have sort of the male version of Wicked Happy in the nightcap today.
Wicked Unhappy?
The horse who is 0 for...
Oh, Boom Boom Kaboom?
Yeah. Can he win today?
I picked Boom Boom Kaboom.
It looks like finally he can break through today, right?
He's been in good form. He's only 0 for 9 in the dirt, Greg. That's my story. I'm sticking with it.
Showdown contest. It is free to get involved. No excuse not to play. And you're competing for real prizes, not to mention seeing your name on that leaderboard for bragging rights as well. Go to nowhere.com/showdown to get involved each and every day on the program. So there is To a T going to cut back in distance. The Noda Barn, Trevor McCarthy, and the horse we saw get a nice warm-up. Was forward last out. If the horse forward today, fitness not going to be an issue.
I think she faced better horses last time. Suspended Campaign refound some of that better form. Girl of Toscanova came back with is coming back later this week, but she was sort of improving for Charlie Baker. And I thought she was my best alternative because I just wanted to pick somebody against the 2 because I don't trust her.
Slightly coming down. Now 2 to 1 on Tell a Perfect Tale.
But she actually was just 9 to 5, and she went back up. She is what we used to refer to as a dangling icicle on the board right now.
Let's head down to MIG for more.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And just before I talk about the horse that I'm ultimately going to select, the 4-2-A-T, we've got a really stiff tailwind down the backstretch. Big wind coming off of Jamaica Bay. And I don't think it plays as much of a factor as if you have a headwind, where if you're on a closer, you could draft in behind horses, let them break the wind, do the hard work for you. Basically, everybody stays bunched up, and they're being pushed along by the wind. And when we turn into the stretch, everybody kind of fans out, and they all got to face the same headwind then. And they're all a little bit tired at that point. So I don't think a lot of a factor, but maybe will affect the times early, that they'll go a little bit quicker down the backstretch because the wind is at their backs. Getting back to the 4-2-A-T, I just really like the turn back for her. From a physical perspective, she really impresses me, a horse that wants to go 6 furlongs, not so much the 7 furlongs or the mile, particularly of last time. I think she'll put herself in a good stalking position with Trevor McCarthy, probably stalking the 7 Hey Mama, who I think will go to the lead. Certainly her trainer, Rick Schasberg, said that's the way she has any chance, is if she gets to the front, and he'd be surprised if she didn't. But 2-A-T, I think the distance will suit her to a T.
Yep, shortening up, as we mentioned. There again, that lightly raced Hey Mama, the daughter of McLean's Music. And look, you never know. She hasn't been fast enough to really compete with the likes of some of these, but she's making just her 3rd career start, first against winners. She could continue to improve.
Yeah, I mean, she improved leaps and bounds from her 2nd to her 3rd start, and she's not the kind of horse that I particularly like, but she showed big improvement in her last start. I think the racetrack may have helped her a little bit. A lot of horses did well on the rail that day, but she's going to be the speed. I just feel like if you like her, you're betting her on the come, and you need better than 4-1, but they're all much bigger prices than I think any of us could have reasonably expected, because as of now, Teleperfect Tale is a huge seeming overlay. She's like 3 or 4 to 5 if you look at the double price, which is $6, with a horse I think just paid $7. I think the 3rd winner paid $6.10. So she's around 4 to 5 if you look at the doubles. Now maybe she drops there. Right now the board is screaming, be careful of Teleperfect Tale. We'll see if that ends up being the case.
Can she continue that form? And by the way, the filly that beat her last time out is a pretty good filly. Named Norman Queen. She's 2 for 3 on dirt. She got an 89 buyer in that victory.
No, she's been improving with every start since running here this winter. She really had a very good winter here. And you know, the thing was, Teleperfect Tale pretty much legitimized her effort 2 back. When she ran that race last time, when it came up super fast, a lot of us said, understandably, it couldn't have been that fast. You know what I mean? This is Teleperfect Tale, who is a career best 52 buyer. She really did seemingly improve about 15 lengths out of nowhere. We've seen these kind of big improvements from a lot of horses in Wayne Potts Barn. And look at this one now. She went to 8 to 5. She just went up to 9 to 5. And in the old days, we used to call that dead as could be. And the board's screaming, be careful with this horse. We'll see. It's weird, right? I know she was 9 to 5 morning line. Keep in mind, David Argona, who normal line maker, not making the line this week. She is 4 to 5 if you look at doubles. Nobody other than the line maker thought she'd be this price. This is cold in the board.
And by the way, her pilot, Jose Gomez, ending the winter meet on another positive note. He's now a 5-pound apprentice. I think he's been, you know, Dylan was obviously a big story. There were always a lot of good stories. I thought that Jose Gomez was one of the biggest stories this winter. Yeah, I mean, obviously Dylan getting his first title at just 27 years old and coming back from injury and just a renewed vigor and passion for the game. Trevor McCarthy, even though he was a little ways back, brother-in-law of Dylan in second, was a great story. And the man right now who he chased for a bit, of course he had that heartbreaker last year, Kendrick, on the final day of the meet. Off to an outstanding start, taking the first 3 on the card here at the Spring Aqueduct meet.
I think he just said, I just want to beat Eric Cancel this time. And he did. So congrats, Kendrick.
That's the man who won 6 on him on the final day of the meet last year to cost him the riding title. Here we go. So 9 to 5 on the 2, Teleperfect Tale. All eyes on this filly. Can she repeat what she's done the last couple of starts? Or will she regress to what she'd been her previous 8 starts of her career? We're about to find out. John Imbrial, the call, race 4 Aqueduct.
And they're in the gate. And they're off. There's Teleperfect Tale going out for the lead from the outside. It is Hey Mama. Stencil is up close along with Cadeau de Paix. 4 of them battling it out for the early lead, and the front 4 have opened up 4 lengths on To a T, who is racing in 5th. Boss Cara is down at the rail, and Wicked Happy trails the field in 7th. Down at the rail, Tella Perfect Tail, and on the outside it is Stencil, and the 2 of them are right together. Now Tella Perfect Tail gets clear by a half length. Stencil on the outside in 2nd, the quarter went in 22 and 3/5 seconds. It's almost 4 lengths now, back to Cadeau de Paix, who's on the inside with Hey Mama on the outside. They're coming for the top of the stretch. Tella Perfect Tail is the leader. Stencil runs in 2nd, the half in 46 and 1. Tella Perfect Tail in the lane now with a 3-length lead. Stencil running in 2nd. Cadeau de Paix is all out in 3rd. Boss Cara is next, followed by To a T. Tella Perfect Tail has built a 7-length lead. It is all Tella Perfect Tail and apprentice Jose Gomez. The battle will be for 2nd, and it is tight for 2nd between Boss Cara and To a T.
Tella Perfect Tail, aggressive early. Jose Gomez, and she was just dominant against this group.
Right. She isn't just a completely different horse. She's also now got speed, something she never really had in the past. And she was obviously an hour and a half the best. The only question is, what was it that she took so little money in here? Because on paper, she looked like a 2 to 5 shot. On the racetrack, she looked like a 2 to 5 shot. Somehow she paid $520. She has really turned around. You know, and she's not the only horse in Wayne Potts' barn that has turned their career around in some ways. But this one, wow. Wow.
As easy as could be. And again, yeah, going in, it looked like she should have been odds on. She never came close to getting there. Goes off at 8 to 5 in the end. Jose Gomez, the 5-pound apprentice, now adds another victory. 21 to 1 shot, winds up 2nd, so able to create a little value here if you liked the favorite and the price underneath.
To a T was a little unlucky. She steadied out after the start near and would have been 2nd, but nothing was going to happen that was going to put her within hailing distance of the winner.
2, 1, 4, 5. Pick 5 on her way with a favorite. One of the prices when we come back, then it's pick 4 time. And we'll look ahead with plenty more coming up on Arkansas Derby Saturday. D. Wayne Lucas trying to do it again with a filly against the boys in the Arkansas Derby with Secret Oath. She has been sensational against her own sex. Can she do it against the boys? We'll be back.
The ultimate accolade for a racehorse is to be named Horse of the Year. To be enshrined to the Hall of Fame is to achieve immortality. As a stallion, genetic immortality is defined in 2 words: breed shaper, plain and simple. 2-time Horse of the Year and Hall of Fame inductee, Curlin, is just that. Breed shaper, Curlin, the classic sire.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets. Oaklawn Park Saturday. Top-ranked 3-year-olds face off in the $1,250,000 Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, the final leg of the Kentucky Derby Prep Series at Oaklawn Park. Watch and play the Arkansas Derby Saturday live on FS1.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual. unusually well. This Saturday, it is going to be sensational. We hope you join us. Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, final prep in Hot Springs on the way to the Kentucky Derby. Live coverage begins on FS1 at 4 p.m. Eastern start time. So we hope to see you on Saturday. That's where the Philly Secret Oath is going to tackle the boys in that 100-point to the winner Kentucky Derby prep. Race 3 is coming up next. And this one a mile and a 16th, 12,000 claiming race for non-winners of 3 lifetime as we look at Call of Honor.
Yeah, I mean, Call of Honor was claimed out of a $10,000 claiming race 2 races back. Not sure why the other trainer was listed, because the trainer who is now, and they're dropping back to a realistic level after being a little bit unrealistic after the claim. That effort 3 back is good enough to win here. But 6-1 if you like him. The horse to beat is the horse who's favored, I guess, on the rail.
Yeah, who just entered our picture. That's the one sports fan, Carl Broberg.
Isn't the concern with him, Greg, though, twofold? He's claimed from Diodoro. Now, I know Broberg, I think, won, and he's dropping back down, but he is a claim from Diodoro. He also has absolutely no speed. Now, they're supposed to be pace. The 4 and 5 have speed, but the 6 scratching takes some of the speed out of the race.
The 8 a little bit?
And a little bit. I think the 8 is a very logical horse. Don't you think the 8's an overlay right now at 7-1?
I feel like people are he couldn't get it done with kind of slow fractions last time.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. That's fair. I thought he might be in a good stalking spot in here. The race does change a little bit with the scratch. The real question is, what do you do with AK Safari, right? I mean, Chris Hartman, whose horses have been running tremendously.
It's a little bit of Teleperfect Tail, isn't it?
Right. I mean, he claimed this horse stunk, right, for 2 races. And then suddenly, in the same class horses in 2 back, basically the same distance, gallops. And I looked that day up. I think Speed did very well. So maybe the track was fairish, but now he's moving up, coming here from Fairgrounds. I want to bet against him running the 80, but if he runs the 80 and he goes to the front, he's going to win, right? For fun.
Hard to trust that number, though, that he could back it up. He's,
right.
2-1 right now.
The number's legit, but it's just hard to know where it came from, and it's very hard to say. But then again, maybe he runs a 70, and I'd rather have him forward than the 1. I thought the 8 was okay at a price, but I don't have a strong opinion.
And the 1 is going to be very far back early. Last in line, let's go to Vic Stauffer.
Post. They're off. Perfect start. Southerner and Call of Honor shows speed. Sports Fan away in third. Foxy Ace in the center. Then Ravenio and AK Safari. And the early trailer is Tiz McNamara. At the clubhouse turn, it'll be Call of Honor, the leader. He's a length in front of Southerner in second. Then a lineup of 3. Sports Fan at the rail. Ravenio between horses and a 3-wide Foxy Ace. AK Safari is second to last with about 5 lengths to make up. And Tiz McNamara just outside of him. 6 furlongs left to race in race 3, and the leader is Call of Honor. Call of Honor to the backstretch, a length and a quarter in front of Southerner in second. Foxy Ace, Ravenio on an early move, and here's Ravenio to split horses, and Sports Fan maintaining his position at the rail, all 3 from the front. AK Safari is still second to last and still about 5 off the lead. Tiz McNamara will be wide on both turns. Now there's a half-mile left to race, and the leader is still Call of Honor. Call of Honor, a length in front of Southerner in second. Now AK Safari's on the move. And here's AK Safari to be a joint third. He is 4 wide around the far turn. Meanwhile, Sports Fan stays at the rail for David Cabrera. Foxy Ace is part of that mix. Now Ravenio has dropped back. Tiz McNamara is the trailer, and Call of Honor is the leader. It is Call of Honor, a length in front of Southerner. Sports Fan with every chance, and now he's on the move at the rail. Here's Sports Fan within 2 of the lead. AK Safari is 4th, and the final furlong has Call of Honor still in front. Call of Honor now a 2-length lead on Southerner and Sports Fan, and Call of Honor is still strong as 16th out, and he's got a 2-length lead. Sports Fan is trying to get into second, but he cannot catch Call of Honor, who goes all the way to win. Call of Honor won by 2. Sports Fan did get second from Southerner. Ravenio finished 4th.
Call of Honor was coming out of the same race as Sports Fan, was about 8 lengths behind him when they met last start. This time turns the tables.
Well, a very heady ride by Ramon Vasquez will be heading to Santa Anita after this meet, and that kind of riding will do well for him out there. I mean, I give credit to Cabrera getting Sports Fan in the game early, but the 4 AK Safari was almost last early, had none of that speed that he had last time. Southerner, who should have been the speed, wasn't particularly aggressively ridden. But Vasquez said, I'm going to go to the front. And, you know, we talked about it before, right, Greg? Dropping back to a more realistic spot. And in this case, they employed the tactics that they had used when he was successful. And that's what worked.
Call of Honor, Ramon Vasquez, Greg Compton, and a 4-year-old son, Honor Code. Now 3 wins from 8 career starts. Taking this 3rd from Oaklawn.
I think Honor Code's win over Liam's Map and the Whitney has got to be one of the 5 most exciting races we ran in New York in the last 10 years. I just thought that was one of the most thrilling big races.
Can we actually run those down and do a YouTube special?
We should do some. We could.
That'd be fun.
I'd be happy to do that with you. Yeah, let's have some fun with that. I'd love to do it.
Back in New York, the 4th. It started the late pick 5, Teleperfect Tail. Gets the win convincingly at 8-5. Should have been odds on.
You know, I took a shot against her. The horse that maybe should have been second, but second 8 lengths behind the winner. But there was no doubt that she was horse to beat. I just assumed she'd be like 3-5. Well, she won like she should have been 3-5, but she paid 8-5.
Jose Gomez, Wayne Potts, Peter Tornes, 4-year-old filly by 40 tails. Now 3 wins in 11 starts. All 3 of those wins coming in the last 5 outings. Pick 4 time is next. Race 5 kicks it off. An allowance optional claiming group for New York breds going a 1-turn mile. Pineapple Man. Odds on here?
This horse is 4-5. Yet Teleperfect Tail was 8-5. Greg, I don't know about you. I thought this was the most competitive race in the card.
Totally agree with you. I have everybody circled.
Yeah, I thought Eddie the Great was in a little trouble, but other than that, it does seem right, though, that Eddie Barker would claim Eddie the Great.
Yeah, good call. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Maracuja. She is back. Coaching Club American Oaks champion from last summer at Saratoga, making her long-awaited return. Coming up tomorrow. We'll preview it next.
Introducing a stallion as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Three of them across. Malathot, Clariere, Maracuja on the outside, and there's 3/16 of the finish. Malathot digs down at the rail. Clariere's in between horses. Maracuja on the outside. Now a furlong to the finish in the Coaching Club American Oaks. It is Malathot. Here's a new challenge from Maracuja on the outside. Malathot and Maracuja, they will battle on to the finish in a terrific rendition here, and it looked like Maracuja got it.
One of the greatest upsets we had all summer long at Saratoga, and even though it was a compact field, one of the greatest races we saw all summer long.
No, this was a really thrilling race, and until the Breeders' Cup, this was the only defeat for Malathot, the deserving 3-year-old filly champion. Maracuja, terrific ride, exciting race, and she gets it done. So Rob Atras took her down to Oaklawn to find a 9 winners of 2 allowance in March.
She's sort of the Malathot now of this Friday race coming up.
She is. She is.
First race back since the Cotillion, 4-year-old debut, and she should be a pretty short price.
And I'm guessing that Rob Atras is going to sort of have to readjust. She'd hoped to get her started. He obviously hoped to get her the Apple Blossom. I'm assuming if things go well here, or reasonably well, she doesn't have to win, but if she runs a good race, he'd like to probably head to a race like the La Troyenne, which is a Grade 1 on Kentucky Derby weekend. That would probably be the start, and maybe a good performance in there, and she goes to the Phipps on our Belmont Stakes Day card.
And we know that she runs well at Saratoga.
Oh, I'm sure he wants to get her up there, too, especially for the personal ensign. But, you know, a lot has to happen for that. And she showed that she can run with the big girls, but she's not quite as consistent as some of them. But we'll see. Maybe she'll step forward as a 4-year-old.
We will have that on tomorrow's card. That is race 8 at Oaklawn on Friday. Meanwhile, the 5th here at Aqueduct. 1 turn mile again, and Pineapple Man still the short price at even money. And both of us just perplexed to see this price.
Yeah, I mean, not that either one of us will be surprised if he wins this race, but I think we both thought that the rail last time may have gotten very good late in the day and helped him. And this is an extremely contentious field. Achilles Heels coming in from out of town for trainer Brad Cox. I think the outside 2 horses are very dangerous. Cut the Cord, I thought, was against the track last time. Mo Dancing won impressively, going a mile for Linda Rice first time. I don't think anyone should be even money in this race.
Let's head downstairs. Miggs standing by.
Well, let's start talking about the 1 Pineapple Man. When I look at favorites, horses taking all that money, I'm looking for some sort of a weakness, something that I think makes him a bit vulnerable. I really don't see anything. I think Pineapple Man looks good. He's had plenty of time between races. He was impressive, but I do think he was aided by a strong inside and a horse with speed stretching out off of sprints. I do prefer a few others. The 3 Achilles Heels spent the winter down at the fairgrounds. Could not look any better. Really, really sharp. Like what I'm seeing, getting back with New York breds here. The 4 State Planning. You know, when we talk about young horses, 3-year-olds in particular, they change so much this time of year, and they improve. And I see a horse on the improve. From a physical perspective, the 4 State Planning has really come on. His coat is resplendent, got that rich, hydrated look that I look for, and I think he's got a big step forward in him. He's a horse that in some of his races, to me, looked a bit green, running almost like with the emergency brake on and stops and starts. I think last time was a big step forward towards, you know, learning and figuring out the game. And if he's got another forward move in him, the way he looks from a physical perspective, I'm really elevating his chances. I like what I'm seeing here in the paddock. And the 7-horse, Mo Dancing, I thought he looked good first time. I do think he looks fitter. He's coming back in 3 weeks. Spoke with conditioner Linda Rice. She said there's a race there for straight 3-year-old New York breds. You know, pretty soon they'll be writing 3-year-old and upward. They'll have to face older horses. So even though she would have liked to have given him a bit more time between races, that this race was here, and he's been doing extremely well since breaking his maiden first time out. I also think that Mo Dancing holds the key to this race, because he's the one I think that could keep Pineapple Man, the inside horse, honest, at least on the lead, guys.
All right, Mig, thanks. We'll see if Mo Dancing can take a step forward here in start number 2. If he can, that 7-horse for Linda Rice certainly could be a player. 9-2 on the board right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that Rich, that he'll be forward. I don't think that he's going to be hounding Pineapple Man. I think he could be close to him sitting second. And Linda Rice doesn't win with a lot of firsters, but when she does, they come back and run well. And this is off of maiden wins, but she's 7 for 21 off a maiden win in a debut. She does well with routers. I know this horse was in a maiden 40 first time out, but I still think she ran fairly well in here, and there's some room to improve. But that's a tough field.
Impressive step.
Yeah, what Linda Rice has always excelled at as a trainer is horses in good form, continuing that good form, improving on it, winning off of wins. Because one of the hardest things to do in this game is win off wins a lot.
It's winning against non-winners,
right,
and then doing it against much tougher group. I mean, that's, wow, to win at 28%.
That's the thing with Linda. When they're going bad, they're going bad. But when they're going good, they're getting better, and that's one of her real skills. It's a tougher bunch, but I think this horse is dangerous, and I don't think Richie's saying the horse is going to put heavy pressure on Pineapple Man. But I don't think with his running style, he won't be compromised by Pineapple Man. He should be able to be in a good position. I'm interested in Cut the Cord, who faced much better horses. Barisi, who beat him twice in a row, is going to try the Wood Memorial, the New York bred. And last time he ran, he had trouble at the start. He sort of the ground broke beneath him at the start a little bit, and he was way back. And that was a day, 2 Saturdays, 13 days ago or 12 days ago, when nobody closed all day long. Speed dominated all day long. So I do think he was compromised by the track last time.
He did not run terrible against Barisi.
No, I think he ran fine in those races. I mean, I don't understand why he's 13-1 right now. He's pretty much the same price as Eddie the Great. Well, I mean, he's 5 times as likely to win this race as Eddie the Great is.
He's had a couple of opportunities. Still talking about the 6 right now, though, where getting out of the gate, it's been an issue for him. And he was last away once. He lost his footing last time out. So we'll keep our eyes on him.
That's fair.
With that gate break. As we have our post parade here coming up in a moment. And there is the man who took the first 3 on the card in that red cap, Kendrick Carmouche. Nice way to start off a brand new meet here as we start fresh with the spring Aqueduct meeting. And early on, he's atop the standings.
Yes. Kendrick has an insurmountable lead for day 1 with 3 wins. And one of the highlights with Kendrick, and you weren't here Sunday, but you probably saw it, was that Maggie was interviewing him after a race, and Dylan Davis was coming by, and Kendrick called Dylan in and say, today sort of belongs to Dylan, and let Dylan take over the interview. And it says a lot about the kind of person that Kendrick Carmouche is. Get a little bit of a spotlight, be on the air, and he's like, no, today's about Dylan. He won this title, and that's the kind of person that that Kendrick is. I mean, I think you have a very good group of people that, there's a lot of camaraderie for guys who are competing together, but Kendrick is that kind of person. He sees it. He sees the importance of certain things.
And these same names, I mean, Dylan Davis again, obviously Kendrick, Trevor McCarthy, a few other names you can throw into that mix. You're going to have another good opportunity here at this spring meet because a lot of the bigger names.
They'll go to Keeneland.
Yeah, they're not going to be back till a little bit later.
Right. I mean, I think we'll see him a little.
Rivals too.
Yeah, we'll see him a little bit. We'll see. Yeah. Well, Pratt is riding at Keeneland.
He's not going to come till after the Derby.
I think though that Rispoli is going to come here, right?
April 14th.
April 14th. Okay. I know that Joel Rosario is riding on Wood Day. I'm not sure who else will be here for Wood Day.
Not sure if he can win enough to take the title though.
Probably not. Probably not. Joel Rosario seems to be appearing at a different racetrack every day.
All right, we're going to kick things off with still the even money favorite, Pineapple Man, and here's the man coming off that riding title, Dylan Davis.
I got no problem with him. His last race was good, but the track may have helped him, and I don't understand how anybody looks at this race and thinks even money is a fair price on anybody.
Eddie the Great. Here's Kendrick looking for number 4 on a big long shot.
Yeah, this one claimed by Eddie Barker, a tough announcement for Eddie Barker, who was shipsational, was supposed to run in the Wood Memorial, and he had a slight injury, or the Florida Derby, and he's off the trail. Sorry. Condolences to our friend Eddie Barker.
Achilles heel, Brad Cox coming in from the fairgrounds.
He gets more realistic company here, and Pioneer Medina's a Todd Pletcher horse that came back and ran okay enough in the Risen Star. We'll see. His big performance on an off-the-turf race.
Juan Vasquez sending out state planning with Trevor McCarthy at the 4.
He ran big last time, and he had a bit of an excuse in the Pineapple Man race. I don't think he's impossible. I don't think he's supposed to be 7-1.
5's the only multiple winner in the field.
He is, and he is improving for Jimmy Ryerson. We'll see, though. The competition gets tougher.
You talked about Cut the Cord, 11-1.
I think this is way too big a price on this horse.
And outside, 4-1 on Mo Danson, 1 start, and it was a win at a mile.
People like wins, so this one's undefeated, and I do think he stands a chance moving up. I think there's better value in other places. I think the 4 is a better bet at 7-1. I like the 6, 11-1, and picked them. If you're trying to beat the 1 in this race and you end up being right, you're going to get paid somewhere along the way. The 1 can win, but Pineapple Man is a little bit overbet, at least in my opinion.
You can follow along on a program, get all the stats from the trainers, jockeys, horses with free Equibase past performances. Go to NYRA.com/TV schedule and download your free past performances from all the races on today's show. Let's take a look at Pineapple Man. So he had 2 sprints. They stretched him out to a mile, had the benefit of that inside post, and he wound up winning by 3 1/4 lengths.
Yeah, and he was a real they knew last time because he did not look like he was going to be as short as 380 in this race. And he took a lot of money, and the money turned out in this case to be right. Mike Maker's barn had really started to heat things up. They've obviously had a very good winter here. Not surprisingly, they normally do. Competition's tougher. He is the controlling inside speed. I don't know if that's an advantage, though, just because it worked for Teleperfect Tail.
And the outside horse, is that the one you expect to see, like Mig had said, putting pressure on this horse?
Well, I think Kendrick's supposed to show a little speed with Eddie the Great, but probably Mo Dancing is the realistic horse to be in a stalking position. But I don't know how much pressure he can put on him. You know, I don't think he's fast enough to make him really speed things up. You never know how the races are going to be run. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be. It's rarely a particularly fast pace around here. I think it'll be at best an honest pace.
This horse has shown, here he is, even when he sprint speed, his first couple of starts. I mean, he was out in front going 6.5 furlongs in his debut. Let's go back down to Mig.
Yeah, guys, I'm just watching the horses warm up. The one Pineapple Man, he got a good aggressive warm-up last time under Dylan Davis. He left the pony, really got in the bridle. Same kind of warm-up today, really got in the bridle. Love the way he's jogging up to the gate. But I think he's vulnerable at a short price, particularly from the inside post. The 3 also Achilles heel. Got a big warm-up from Eric Cancel. Really framed up nicely, bouncing along on the racetrack now as they're heading up to shoot. Like what I saw there. But ultimately, what I saw in the paddock was reinforced on the racetrack. I'm going to go with the 4 State Planning. He's 7-1. I like the price I'm getting. I just see a lot of mental maturation with this horse. I'm seeing a horse that I really don't think he had the game figured out, and he improved in each start in a professional manner, that he approached his races more professionally. There was more continuity to his run, and I think he's even taken another step forward. He just seems more focused, a horse that to me really the light bulb, the proverbial light bulb, hadn't gone on yet. I like what I'm seeing from him on the racetrack, and I liked what I saw in the paddock. That's who I'm going with, the 4 State Planning.
7-1 on State Planning, who was 9-2 morning line.
I think the point is that there are cases to be made for quite a few horses in this race. Arguably for any of the 3, 4, maybe the 5, though I'm surprised he's getting as much money as it is, 6 and 7. And the board is saying, really, there's only one case to be made, and that's for the 1 Pineapple Man. Now, that's not to say he may not win, but just because a horse wins a race doesn't mean that he was good value, he or she was good value.
The last race, we thought the board was maybe telling us a story that big favorite was not going to run well. That was not the case. Ran huge, and you wound up getting 8-5 if you had conviction in Teleperfect Tail. This race, it's almost as perplexing.
Well, I'll put it this way: look at the last race and look at this race, and if I said to you before we started the day, Pineapple Man is going to be a shorter price than Teleperfect Tail. Or if you said it to me, I'd say you're an idiot. You hit your head while you were on vacation, Greg. You know, I mean, it would have made no sense whatsoever. And I don't think I can't imagine there's anybody watching our show that looked at this card that would disagree with that. It's very hard to have looked at these races and imagine that Pineapple Man would be a shorter price than Teleperfect Tail. Now, Teleperfect Tail may have just been a huge overlay, and maybe that's more the story. But it is what it is.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And might win, but
I don't think you're going to make money in your life at the racetrack betting horses like Pineapple Man at 6-5. It just doesn't feel like he has such a substantial edge in any way over this field. He's the horse to beat. I don't deny that. I guess the other question is, was his last race a bit of an aberration? There was an argument that the rail got very good that day, late in the day. So his performance, while it is the best race probably that anyone's ever run in here, might have been very much helped by the racetrack.
But the money has not moved away the entire betting period here on Pineapple Man. So trying for back-to-back starts to win from the rail at a mile for Mike Maker. And the man coming off the first riding title of his career, Dylan Davis, will be aboard, looking for his first win this afternoon.
Yeah. And Dylan rode very well this winter, consistently well, among a lot of riders that rode well. Those tarps should be coming off in a day or two.
April 7th, first turf racing.
First turf race in the book is April 7th, and the grass is much greener under the tarps than you might realize.
Going to be taking those tarps away very, very soon. We're looking forward to it.
I was out at Belmont on Monday, and it was sub-zero out. It was an Arctic chill, in the New York area. But you could see that the tarps were still up there, but the grass, a little bit of grass under it, so a little of it was pretty green. We had a one-day race meet. It was kind of quiet.
Always run them inside at UBS Arena.
You're just excited because May 14th is Sesame Street Live.
Is it really?
3 shows of
gotta take William there.
You really do. Well, there's, can draw some comparisons sometimes between our show and Sesame Street Live. That's another
yes,
story.
you can. Pineapple Man, even money from the rail. Dylan Davis, Mike Maker. Short price. Can he get it done at a distance and post position he won at last time? In against winners for the first time. Here's the start of the pick 4. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
There in the gate. And the rough. Good start for Pineapple Man from that inside post position. From the outside, Cut the Cord and Mo Danson as they race up the chute. It is a Pineapple Man joined now by Eddie the Great. Convertible Freezes right there, along with Cut the Cord and Mo Danson. So it's 5 of them stacked across the track. The front 5 have a half dozen lengths on the 2 trailers, State Planning. And then it is Achilles Heel as they race up the backstretch through a quarter in 23 and 4. And it is the favorite, Pineapple Man, down at the rail, leading by a half length. Long shot, Eddie the Great runs in second. Convertible Freeze on the outside is third. Now 2.5 lengths to Cut the Cord, running in fourth, followed by Mo Danson in fifth. Then it's Achilles Heel and State Planning. Pineapple Man narrowly over Eddie the Great with Convertible Freeze right there on the outside. The half was running 47 and 2/5 seconds. Now they go around the far turn. 3 of them battling it out. It's Pineapple Man, Eddie the Great, and Convertible Freeze. Then a break of 6 lengths to Mo Danson, who's running in fourth. State Planning has advanced into fifth. They're coming for the top of the stretch. Pineapple Man down at the rail. Convertible Freeze on the outside. Eddie the Great is now back running in third. Then State Planning in fourth, who continues to gain. 3/4 went in 1:12 and 4. It is Pineapple Man trying to hold off the new challenge from State Planning. Pineapple Man, State Planning driving up on the outside. It's Pineapple Man with the lead. State Planning on the outside. State Planning, Pineapple Man, they come on for the finish. State Planning is the winner. Pineapple Man was second, and Convertible Freeze finished third.
State Planning grinding away, able to get by Pineapple Man at 7-1.
Yeah, it was a tough loss for Pineapple Man, who did endure much more pressure than I think was reasonable to expect. But State Planning was able to just sort of sit back, got that usual well-timed ride from Trevor McCarthy and got it done. And yeah, Pineapple Man probably was best, but he wasn't an even money shot in this field, and State Planning was a bit of an overlay, and he was able to beat him, and they're now 1-1 against each other. 7-1 on this horse seems too high.
Race that we thought going in was completely wide open. In the end, really not that many ran in here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of horses really didn't show up. They were aggressive with Cut the Cord, my horse, but he was pretty much eased in here. Decent enough trip for Mo Danson, had absolutely nothing. 2 horses ran. Nobody else really showed up.
4, 1, 5, 7. Again, 7-1 on State Planning, so a nice beginning to your pick 4 if you put this one in. Favorite, and now 7-1 as we get back to Oaklawn. Race 4 up next. It's maiden special weight. Fillies and mares 3 and up, and going a mile and a 16th in here. Steve Asmussen and Joel Rosario going to team up here. Steve Asmussen, as we check in with Gary Stevens, going to be debuting a filly, moving to his barn in the Grade 3 Fantasy coming up on Saturday. Gary.
Yeah, and this filly, Magic Circle, she's going to have to improve off of her last couple of races. I think she won the Basanda. She got the Lope along on the lead, 24 and change. Rudy Rodriguez had her. She's had one workout out here at Oaklawn Park, so is it going to make a difference that Steve Asmussen has her? I don't think so, but I think there is improvement there. But she's not going to be able to lope along on the lead. There's a filly in there that's coming out of sprint races. It's going to show speed. So she's going to have to really step forward. She didn't really improve a whole lot from her 2-year-old season into this 3-year-old year. Maybe she's going to like this racetrack here. But the race did become a lot wider open when Secret Oath decided to go in the Arkansas Derby. So we'll have to wait and see how she performs, guys.
All right, so we'll look forward to seeing that Busando winner in the Asmussen barn debuting for Steve coming up on Saturday. There's a look at that group for the Fantasy Stakes. Meanwhile, Gary, this 4th race coming up. Asmussen has a first-time starter, 3-year-old filly by Tappet, and Joelle Rosario will be aboard as we get a look at this gray daughter at Tappet. What can you tell us about her?
Well, she looks great out on the racetrack, and anytime I see an Asmussen horse that's worked out of the starting gate like she did at the fairgrounds prior to coming here to Oaklawn Park, she worked in 59-2. That's a fast workout for Steve's horses, so kind of showed his hand there. She's had several good works at the fairgrounds, so she's well meant here today. She's behaving herself. Look, some of these Tappets, they can get a little uneasy first-time starters. This filly looks like she's got a great head on her shoulder. She's nice and relaxed right now, and she does look fit, guys.
$500,000 daughter of Tappet making her debut. The dam was unraced. The only other foal, it had an incomplete race record, but I saw 0 for 4.
Yeah, she was not much of a racehorse, the second foal. The second dam was okay. This is Mandy Pope's Whisper Hill Farm, and we've seen Mandy Pope pay exorbitant prices for a lot of broodmares, including Songbird. And she's paid a lot of money at different times for horses. She's a big player in the game. Their success has not been commensurate for the amount of money spent. And I think this horse is kind of 8-5 in here because there's nowhere else to go besides Salute the Flag, who is almost a virtual cinch based on the last race that he ran. If she runs that last race, the 3 better be a stakes horse to beat her. And I almost wonder if the 3 is second choice because it's Joelle Rosario, more so than the fact that she's shown a lot. For what it's worth, first-time starters in dirt routes, Steve Asmussen is 13 for 107, 12%, the $1.21 ROI over the last 5 years. That just shows how rarely he does it for a guy who starts so many horses, Greg.
Meanwhile, that is Salute the Flag's runner-up finish last time out in Straight Maiden Company. And now the blinkers come off in start number 4 for the first time.
And lost to a 3-5 Steve Asmussen horse in that race. And this is a horse that they had a lot of promise for when you look at the first 2 starts at Churchill and Oaklawn, but did finally show it last time out. Not that shocking stretching out, being a Curlin, Private Ensign. I think Private Ensign, I didn't look it up, Greg. I feel like that's like a Phipps family somewhere in there, which makes these fillies worth a lot. It seems like anytime you can see a filly that's got Phipps pedigree on the dam side, those horses have great value.
Meanwhile, you brought up, and there's that 3 again for Asmussen, the first-time starter. The Grand Dam, there's pedigree there. It was Grade 2 winner, Fiery Pursuit.
103 buyer, I believe, about $330,000 in earnings. That's an awful lot of money to spend, though, $500,000, but it is a Tappet, so I'm sure she has some broodmare value. How much remains to be seen.
Still, to make this one 8-5?
I can't help but say it's a function of nowhere else to go. And the past performances on the Whisper Hill Farm horses are their underachievers. Doesn't mean this one can't be good, and I'm not rooting against the horse, but we've seen quite a few horses over the years that have cost a lot of money for this barn that have underachieved. Ralph Nix will have a lot of them down in Florida. John Kimmel will have them here. This is Asmussen, it's Joelle Rosario, and it's like you look at the field and you go, well, of the horse that ran Salute the Flag Can't Lose, is there somebody else I want? Well, I don't really want the first-time starter Sleepless Dream, so you end up with this horse. We'll see. Maybe she'll be a runner. I hope for the connections that she is.
Meanwhile, 4-5, deservedly so it looks like in this group.
Oh, yeah.
Salute the Flag.
Well, I'll give you another one. Let's compare this to the last race with Pineapple Man.
Yeah,
I'd rather bet this horse at a comparable price than Pineapple Man.
Without question.
Because, yeah, you always have to worry about horses showing up, but that's not how you handicap. In all likelihood, unless the 3 is a runner, this horse is going to win. even if she regresses off her last race. And getting horses to win first time out, you see how rarely Steve Asmussen even does it. Even with his best route horses, he starts them out sprinting.
It's tougher to do it around 2 turns first time.
Very hard to do. He's 2 for 15 at Oaklawn with a $1.76 ROI. So he starts 3 horses a year. It's just, for guys, this guy starts a lot of horses.
Vic Stauffer the call. Here's the 4th from Oaklawn. The 6th, Salute the Flag, the odds-on favorite.
They're at the post. They're off. Awkward start for Dance It. Sleepless Dream and Lady Commander to the front from Salute the Flag and Quality Chrome. Dance It moves up to be 5th now. After that strange start, then comes Pray Gloria, and the trailer is Goldina. Sleepless Dream to the backstretch. She leads by 2 over Lady Commander in 2nd. Salute the Flag secures a good running position. Now Dance It's a bit ranked between horses. To the outside, Goldina, and at the rail, Quality Chrome. 2 lengths back to the trailer, Pray Gloria, as they turn into the backstretch, and the leader is Sleepless Dream. Sleepless Dream, a 2-length advantage on Lady Commander in 2nd. No excuses today for Salute the Flag. She's had an easy trip. She's 3rd and 2.5 off the lead. Now she drops back to 4th because Quality Chrome takes 3rd. Then comes Dance It. She's the gray between horses, 4 from the front, 2 back to Goldina. Pray Gloria has trailed throughout. Sleepless Dream has led throughout. Sleepless Dream into the far turn. A 2-length lead on Lady Commander and Quality Chrome. Salute the Flag is now asked for more. Here's Salute the Flag to rejoin 3rd and 2 from the front. Dance It is 5th with 4 lengths to make up. Goldina's out of last place, but 6 behind. Pray Gloria is the trailer, and Salute the Flag with a 3-wide rush challenges the new leader, whose name is Lady Commander. Lady Commander just in front of Salute the Flag in 2nd. Sleepless Dream has dropped back 3rd. Dance It is 4th, and Lady Commander comes to the final furlong and now leads by a full 2 lengths. Salute the Flag can do nothing about it, and Lady Commander is clear as 16th out, and she is running well. Salute the Flag is going to try her once again. Lady Commander needs to switch leads. Salute the Flag, a final try. Lady Commander, Salute the Flag. Salute the Flag ran down Lady Commander in the shadow of the wire. It was 12 back to Quality Chrome, another 3 to Dance It.
Never in question, right? Unbelievable beat here. If you had the 2, you thought you were absolutely home free.
If you bet the 2 here, you have my absolute sympathy. If you were here now, I'd buy you a drink. Because, I mean, this race was over. You could feel that Vic Stauffer, the announcer, felt that way. Certainly Greg and I felt that way watching it. I mean, you're watching, you're thinking, maybe Salute the Flag is going to be one of these sort of bridesmaids. And I don't know if she sort of figured it out late, or maybe the 2 came back a little bit, but congratulations if you had the short price with Salute the Flag. You bet Lady Commander. Oh, I feel so bad for you. That's brutal. Greg's speechless
on
over
to
here.
win like that.
I mean, I don't know what to say.
People holding their breath.
The 2 was home. This race was over. Wow.
It's never over, is it?
They don't pay off at halftime,
They
Axel.
do not. But yeah, it seemed like a done deal. And Salute the Flag, we were saying, wow, not today. And then all of a sudden, she kicked into another gear. 2 started getting a little erratic in the stretch, too. That didn't help her cause.
Well, the 6 was a little erratic before that, right? As she was trying to catch her. It'll be interesting to see, because I think the 6 has some ability, Salute the Flag. She seems to be a little bit immature the way she was racing. Does a victory get her to put it together a little bit? Lady Commander, that's the best race she's ever run in her 9th career start. We'll see what Dance It does. Dance It was unprofessional coming to the gate, sort of a little slow through her head. Made a little move in the turn, but didn't finish at all. She's going to have to improve, but this was amazing.
Tough beat for Lady Commander. We're going to take a timeout. Continue to preview the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby on Saturday. We the People. Is he for real on the Derby trail? He's been very good his first 2 starts. Now comes his first graded stakes test to try and get into the Kentucky Derby.
Run Happy was a #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Be a part of the racing action Saturdays at Aqueduct with live money contests available online through Naira Bets. A $300 buy-in adds $200 to your contest account, while the other $100 funds the cash prize pool paid through 10th place. Follow along with the races on America's Day at the Races while keeping track of your leaderboard standings on Naira Bets. After the contest, your bankroll and prize winnings are shifted back into your Naira Bets account to start betting or withdraw. Register to play today at nairabets.com/contests.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Thanks for being with us. Live look there at Hot Springs, Arkansas. Plenty more coming up on the card today from Oaklawn. And, of course, Saturday, just a sensational card. Phillies trying to punch their ticket to the Oaks, and one Philly potentially trying to punch her ticket to the Kentucky Derby. Tackling the boys. Secret Oath in the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. $1.25 million purse up for grabs. And it's been, I think, in this circuit, almost more than anywhere, it's been completely wide open.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I'll tell you something. Secret Oath is probably the horse to beat. I thought Cyberknife, who won't be 8-1 in there, I think will be a shorter price than that. There's a little interesting Doppelganger. He's one of those. Bob Baver horse now with Tim Yakteen is obviously dangerous. Coming off a second place finish for Forbidden Kingdom, and maybe we'll get a feeling for Forbidden Kingdom if this horse wins this race. I even think Kavod on the inside is going to the long shot because he's luring the lead. No one will think he can get the distance. I think he'll run okay. Some storylines in there. For me, looking at the race, I'm going to try to beat We the People. Not that he can't win, but I was a little against him.
Did you hear that, Gary Stevens?
Gary likes him more than I do. I know that.
He thought Secret Oath, the filly, might be the one to beat.
Gary will agree with that.
Yeah, guys, the filly, she's doing outstanding right now. According to Wayne Lucas, he said that her preparation has gone flawlessly, and I've been watching this filly all along, training up to the Arkansas Derby. She couldn't look better out on the racetrack in the morning, even traveling to the track in the morning. She's full of herself. She looks different than she did prior to the Honeybee. She's tightened up a lot. She's completely fit right now. I think that Wayne almost would be wishing that the Kentucky Derby, he's got to see how she performs against the boys. Yeah, she's going to have to probably step it up even more in the Arkansas Derby than what she has, but she hasn't been tested yet. She's going to get tested this weekend. I believe that We the People will test him. He's only had 2 races, but he drew well on the outside. And you know, you talk about Kavad, Andy, and you're right. Everybody's going to think that he can't get the route of ground. But Barber Road, he's another one that she's going to have to deal with. I thought he was a little bit of an unlucky loser. He just, you know, his jockey was a little bit indecisive coming through the stretch in the Southwest Layer and the Rebel last time out. He started to make a move out, then he dropped back down behind the eventual winner, Unoho, and he had to wait. You know, granted it was only a few strides, but he was coming late. I think he's going to enjoy the extra 16th of a mile of the Arkansas Derby, but it's going to be one for the books, guys.
75-1 when Unoho won that Rebel. Different story on Saturday since he won that race.
He could be 65-1. I think he'll drop.
Can he continue to run the race that we saw last time against this group?
The problem is, I think if he runs the race he ran last time out, he's going to run 6th in here. This has gotten a lot tougher than the race he was in. Not only do you have the filly, You've got We the People. You've got Doppelganger. It's a much, much tougher race than that Rebel. And even Cyberknife, who just got a ridiculous trip when he ran in the Lecomte, I don't think he's impossible.
And he got a pretty nice trip, too, up the rail.
Oh, couldn't have had better. He is now a registered New York bred, though. Apparently he was not a registered New York bred before. I've heard of this before, but now, if things don't work out for him, there's always that Albany in Saratoga. We've never had a Rebel winner, as far as I can tell, in the Albany.
Back in New York, Pineapple Man was even money. The one horse on the fence, Dylan Davis. In the end, State Planning is going to run him down. Trevor McCarthy at 7-1.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Pineapple Man, who overbet or not, probably did run the best race, surviving that. But there was Trevor with the closer, and that was something we talked about. Pineapple Man had the target on his back, and there's the possibility that other riders are going to be aggressive. Well, they were. You know, there often aren't paces here, but sometimes there are. And in this case, that made him a little bit vulnerable. He became the hunted one.
Little revenge for Trevor, getting the best of his brother-in-law.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
After Dylan won the riding
title. A lot of Davises going around here. Jackie Davis, who had a terrific meet. I think she had the highest ROI of anyone in the top 12 riders.
Jackie Davis did?
Yes, I believe so. I think
She
David
rode
Aragona
very well at the meet.
Oh, she rode terrifically. And she had a win here on Saturday on the Claiming Crown Day.
Pick 5, early Pick 5, $861. We're in the midst of the late Pick 5, underway in the Pick 4 as well. And we continue on race 6, 6.5 furlongs. New York bred $25,000 claiming group. And money in the bank. Right now, Dylan Davis, Chris Engelhardt, favorite on the board, but Bronx Bomber, this one's got a shot as well. Rudy Rodriguez trains this one. Rudy coming off back-to-back training titles at Aqueduct. He'll have the apprentice aboard. Can Bronx Bomber get it done? We'll be back with more next.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle. Performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now, he's earning his stripes by siring stars.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Bayette.
Law Professor just in front, and Law Professor. American Revolution, fireworks in the stretch here in the Cigar Mile.
Constitution, a natural-born leader.
We are back on America's Day at the Races, program brought to you where you can play it all. Go to NyraBets, get signed up if you have not already. Download the app, go to nyrabets.com. Just in time for Triple Crown season. Just over a month away.
Yep.
On that first Saturday in May in the Kentucky Derby. I want to remind everyone, too, Aqueduct Saturday contests. Continuing on, $300 buy-in. Live money contest on Saturdays, live racing from Aqueduct featured, and cash prizes and seats into the following week's contest on the line. Registration ends 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Friday. Go to NYRA.com/contests to learn more.
You were gone while Epicenter, I think he's established himself as the favorite right now for the Derby, given his performance in Louisiana, but we've got 5 big preps left to be run.
Okay, that's fair, yeah.
Yeah. He was very good. He had a good trip, but he showed he could rate, and I think you have to make him the favorite now, but everybody else has a last race ahead of them, and I think we're going to see some good performances. I'm excited about this year's 3-year-old crop, and I think as things go forward, we're going to see some very good races coming up.
Double Vision kicks off our 6th here at Aqueduct.
There will be a lot of people seeing double if this horse wins.
Speed from the rail. 10-1 next door. Bad guy, Rudy Rodriguez, Trevor McCarthy.
The problem he has is with his running style as a closer, there's just other closers in this race who are just better horses.
10-1 on the 2. We skip to the 5, and here's Cecilia. Mike, he ran a monster effort last start for Wayne Potts.
Well, he's another Wayne Potts horse that sort of seemingly jumped up out of nowhere to run a big race last time, and a duplication of that performance gives him a chance here.
No riding crop again for the 6, Money in the Bank.
I think he's way the horse to beat in this race, way against the track last time with trouble at the start. I believe he'll be very tough to beat.
We jump to Bronx Bomber, the 9 here, Jose Gomez, the other Rudy Rodriguez horse.
And I think you agree with me. He may be the biggest threat to the number 6, Money in the Bank in the year. The problem with Bronx Bomber is he just doesn't seem to win now that he's lost his speed.
Gandy Dancing. There was a time where he would have been one of the favorites in here.
But I think in some ways his performance last time draws Cecilia Mike's performance into question because he seemingly ran much better than he's been running in prior races based on speed figures.
John Pregman trains that one. 5-year-old by Flatter. Waiting on, this is South Africa, who does not have any equipment on.
You have to wonder if we're going to see him racing in here, given what's going on, and it does appear that the rider... No, that's Dylan. That's Jose Lezcano.
I think they had the wrong saddle on the 3, the issue.
But that's Jose Lezcano for the 4. There's a lot going on here, Greg.
Well, let's get the latest. Let's head down to Mig.
Yeah, Greg, kind of interesting. The 3, South Africa, actually was saddled with the wrong saddle. It was caught before he left the paddock. Manny Franco, they had to take that saddle off. Manny Franco had to go back to the jockey's room and weigh out a second time with his saddle, which would then be placed on South Africa, and then he'll join the post race. So it was just a mix-up with equipment and to make sure every horse carries the right weight. Good catch by the paddock judge to make sure that the horses go out with the right tack and the right amount of weight carried. So South Africa will be a bit of a delay before he hits the racetrack. You know, these things happen from time to time, but it was a good catch.
All right, Mig, thanks for that update. So those 2 will be out to the track. We'll try and get a look at them as soon as they come out. As we take a look here at the 6. So here's the favorite, Money in the Bank, Dylan Davis, Chris Englehart. And that March 19th race, obviously, you can't fall in love with. This was December 3rd. And
well, the March 9th, this was when he and Bronx Bomber, and that's why I pulled this replay, ran together, and they finished 3rd and 4th. Bronx Bomber had a little traffic in the stretch, but he was taking advantage of a complete pace meltdown. Whereas Money in the Bank, who finished just behind him this day, beating length and a half, he had more traffic in the stretch, but he also was much closer to the pace, so I felt he ran better. As far as the March 19th race, where they finished 7th and 6th, and Bronx Bomber was a half length in front of Money in the Bank, the trips tell a very different story. Because the trips, Bronx Bomber had a perfect trip in the sense that he was in the 2-path, he broke well, he got a good spot. He was compromised by the fact that nobody closed that day, and that race was dominating the front end. So was Money in the Bank, but Money in the Bank stumbled at the start, he was bumped off, he had significant trouble, he broke about 3/4 of a leg slow, and he had a real trip in that race, yet he still finished a half length behind Bronx Bomber, so I much prefer Money in the Bank.
Jose Lezcano walking back to Durkin's call. They're still working on getting this horse saddled up. Not the way you want to get things started leading into the warm-up for a race. And that horse 7-1 on the board right now. And the 10, I'm sorry, that's the 3. South Africa is still getting his equipment on as well. And South Africa, he's a major player in this race.
Well, I don't know what to do with him. You know, what do you do with him? He was so bad off the claim, and now he's dropping in for a quarter. But, yeah, I mean, if he's got races that could win it, there's no question about that.
So close to getting everything sorted out here with the 3 and 4. Let's go back to Mig.
Yeah, Greg, just to clarify, so the 3-horse South Africa was saddled with the 4 horses, Durkin's Call saddle, and Durkin's Call got South Africa's saddle. So Manny Franco, when he was to get legged up, realized he had Jose Lezcano's saddle, and Jose Lezcano realized he had Manny Franco's saddle. They got it all sorted out. Both riders had to weigh out again to make sure that the weights are correct. The horses are being saddled now, and they should be on their way any moment. I tell you, I love the way South Africa looks here in the paddock. I really want to get a look at how he moves on the track, because I think he's had excuses. I think he lands in a spot where he can be forward, and I think he's a horse that runs his best races when he's forward. Getting back to the 6, Money in the Bank, an ultra-competitive runner, a horse that runs without a riding crop. He resents it. Eddie Davis, brother of Dylan Davis, trained him early on, figured that out, had Dylan work him without a crop. And Dylan has won 6 of this horse's 7 victories. He's been aboard. He gets back on board today. He did have legitimate trouble last time. And just the fact that when you have a horse that's this tricky to ride, and a horse that likes competition, when he makes the front, you'll see his ears will go up. He'll wait on horses. Dylan is very astute at putting him next to a horse so he feels the challenge and runs on. So I really like Dylan Davis getting back aboard the 6, Money in the Bank, as Manny Franco and Jose Lezcano are aboard their respective mounts and heading out to the racetrack.
All right, Mig, thank you. We saw Luis Castro Rodriguez hop back aboard Double Vision. Looks like everything is okay there. And wow, there's a lot going on in this race. And it's Dylan Davis.
My head's spinning here.
And yeah, it looks like everybody's off. So we had Wayne Potts a couple races ago, Teleperfect Tale. Thought should have been odds on. Won like she was odds on.
Yeah.
Here, I look at Thoroughgraphs. Cecilia Mike, the 5, it's not even close in terms of the last race. The number he ran.
Well, you see a lot of horses, once again, from the Wayne Potts horse, running giant races seem somewhat out of nowhere, and I think this was somewhat one of them. I thought Eric Insel did a good job getting some position with a horse that doesn't have much speed, but it does seem like they're improving. I don't know. He's an 8-year-old. Is he going to run back that number? He's 7 for 64 lifetime with 19 seconds and 12 thirds. So he's got 4.5 seconds and thirds for every win. That is not the kind of horse that I want to bet on.
By the way, the only horses with riders on right now
are the 3
and
horses
4 who are late to the party.
Right.
Who just came onto the track, the 3 and 4.
That's, I assume, why everybody's off, because we're.
And there is the 3, South Africa, Manny Franco, George Weaver. Again, George Weaver, we touched on it briefly at the beginning of the show. He's going to give another chance to boom, boom, kaboom in the nightcap tonight. Of course, he's 0 for 23 coming in. But, again, he's probably going to be the favorite in that race. And it looks like maybe today, finally, he can graduate.
I mean, the only horse that seems to have a chance to beat him is the drop-down Live It Up, who's faced better horses in his 2 starts. He seems like the other horse. Boom, boom, kaboom was probably, unfortunately, too close to the pace last time on a dead rail 2 back. And he's improved recently, and it does seem like he's become a dirt horse, even though he spent most of his time on the turf. But he's had an awful lot of chances. I picked him, but I can understand why people don't want to bet on a horse like that at a short price. Riders
getting back up. Let's head back down to Mig as we're waiting for a start here.
Yeah, just so you understand why the other riders were off their horses, is that the horses in the paddock weren't carrying their weight, and that gives them an unfair advantage. So those guys dismount so their horses aren't carrying the jockey's weight that entire time, and potentially making them a bit more tired. So that's why they were off their mounts until the other riders were up and on their way to the gate to kind of balance out or level the playing field, if you will. I love the warm-up from the 3. South Africa, big, aggressive warm-up. I think Manny Franco understood this horse needs to be forward. He's ultimately going to be my top selection, but with a lot of respect for the 6, Money in the Bank, who looked fantastic on the racetrack, and Dylan Davis knows him so well. Those are the 2 for me. I wound up with the horse at a little bit of a bigger price in South Africa.
All right, so
I'm exhausted watching them get ready for this race.
On,
Greg. How are
off,
you?
on, off. Luis Castro Rodriguez still waiting to get back aboard on the 1 there in those red and white silks. Seacoast Thoroughbreds. But 9-5, Money in the Bank's been the favorite throughout here in the wagering, the 6.
Yeah, I think he's very much the worst to beat in this race, and I think with a fair trip in here, he'll be tough to beat. I won't be shocked if Bronx Bomber does get it done, though he has not shown a propensity to be able to win from behind. I guess South Africa, there's some case to be made for him. I didn't really like him. I don't trust him to drop down, but he does have some form to get him there. I just very much prefer the favorite in this race, and the 1 is giving him nothing but problems.
5 in the background, waiting to load in if he can repeat that last race. But, yeah, it's a big if as an 8-year-old, as Andy mentioned.
I thought if you wanted a long shot, it was Durkin's Call, personally, who's also dropping precipitously. We'll see if he gets a little more pace to run at. Yeah, if you want a long shot, he was one I'd use.
He's 10-1, double-digit odds. Finally, things sorted out with Double Vision.
I'll need a drink after watching this.
That was a
drink of water.
Little bit of chaos, yeah, for this 6 to finally get loaded up, but we're almost there. So 8-5 favorite, Money in the Bank. Dylan Davis, Chris Engelhart, the favorite. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
Bomber is now moving into line. And we're waiting for Durkin's Call and Gandhi Dancing. Gandhi Dancing goes in, and we are now set for race number 6. And they're off. From the outside, it is a Bronx Bomber who shows first. From the inside, it is Double Vision along with South Africa. And then comes Money in the Bank, who's racing in 4th. Gandhi Dancing next in 5th. It's 4 lengths. Back to Cecilia Mike. Alongside is Durkin's Call, and Bad Guy trails the field in 8th. Bronx Bomber steps away here to lead by 2 lengths. Double Vision down at the rail. In between horses is Money in the Bank, and on the outside is Gandhi Dancing, the quarter one in 22-2. Bronx Bomber is the leader, with Money in the Bank and Gandhi Dancing right together, 2nd and 3rd. Double Vision has dropped back. Durkin's Call begins to pick it up down towards the rail, and Cecilia Mike moves up on the outside. Bronx Bomber has the lead coming for the quarter pole. Then it is Gandhi Dancing and Money in the Bank. Farther back, Cecilia Mike and Durkin's Call. The half in 45 and 3/5 seconds. Bronx Bomber extending the lead here. Bronx Bomber's in front by 5. Money in the Bank in 2nd. Then Gandhi Dancing and Cecilia Mike. It is Bronx Bomber with the lead and a 16th to the finish. Cecilia Mike putting in a late run on the outside of Money in the Bank, but no catching Bronx Bomber, won by 2.5 at the end. Cecilia Mike up for 2nd. Money in the Bank was 3rd.
Bronx Bomber again. The 5-pound apprentice, Jose Gomez. Rudy Rodriguez, a 6-year-old with a victory.
Well, it's very clear that Rudy Rodriguez had very different intentions for this horse today. He was a horse, Bronx Bomber, that one time in his career was almost an uncontrollable speed horse. They had been rating him. Since they started rating him, he had no success. Obviously, they completely changed their tactics today, went back to tactics that worked much more in the past, and that got him the victory. The question is, why did they take his speed away to begin with? Because he's not a horse that can win from behind, but it's very clear that these connections had a different idea today.
It's pretty great. If you look at his past performances, the races where he's had trouble, he's actually run huge. But yeah, on the front end, different animal today and able to take advantage.
He doesn't pass. He ultimately won't pass in his races. I'm not sure why they ever abandoned these tactics to begin with, to be honest with you.
3-1. Third choice, with the victory here. Michael Dubb, Rudy Rodriguez. Again, Rudy coming off 2nd straight Aqueduct training title. And the son of Take Charge Indy, 6-year-old, wins for the 5th time in his career. 9, 5, 6, 10, 20 to 1 shot. Filling out that superfecta here in the 6th. Back to Hot Springs and race 5 coming up at Oaklawn. Arkansas bred group, 16 maiden claiming sprint at 6 furlongs. And 2-1 current favorite. It's War Music. John Ortiz, Ray Lou Gutierrez, 3-year-old filly, making her 6th career start. This is the lowest level she'll be in yet.
The thing that concerns me, and I do think she makes a lot of sense, she'll probably be stalking the speed of the number 8, Maisie G, though it's hard to know, is she's lost it 3-2, 3-1, even money, 7-2. So she always takes money and she always fails. I don't have any argument. She makes sense in here. But I think 5, she's amazing. She's not that much less likely to win, and she's a little better priced at 3-1. So I'd prefer her at 3-1. Is there any way the 8 wires the field?
Potentially.
She's supposed to be in front, and I think Cabrera is going to send her in here, so maybe she could wire the field.
You got that heartbreaking beat last start. John Court was on board. He's on the 9, Jerry Dawn, who probably ran her best race last time out. She just missed by 3/4 of a length. She came from way out of it. Did you give her any kind of look?
Jerry Dawn, well, her last race I think is fast enough to give her a chance. She's a horse who's been a big price in her races. I'm not going to argue, though. I thought she did show up last time out. We'll see. I mean, I don't love the fact that she doesn't have much speed. I'd want to be a little bit more forward in this race, but I don't think she's impossible. I mean, the thing with War Music is you worry a little bit that the fact that she went long last time, that will dull her speed. The good news is these Archie breds will be circling for 5 or 6 minutes before they go to the gate. You want to really have a chance to dig into that.
Your favorite part.
My favorite part, especially with the Archie breds.
We got to get you to Hot Springs.
I've been there. I was there 2019 for the Fantasy Apple Blossom and Arkansas Derby. It poured on Arkansas Derby.
Did it?
Yeah. I watched the Arkansas Derby. We weren't showing it. It was on a network. So I watched it in the comfort of a warmer place with libations with our good friend Tom Amos. After Tom had just taken that excruciating beat in the Oaklawn handicap with Lone Sailor.
Oof. And who won it that year?
Quip, who I believe just ran in either Saudi Arabia or Dubai, right? Yeah, Rudy Brissett, yeah. I actually bet him. I didn't rub it in too much.
Well, so you mentioned a speed in here, Maisie G, right? What about this 11 horse? It's only started once. It was last year as a 3-year-old. And we know she has no other way, it looks like.
But that was at Louisiana Downs. And I have found in a lot of cases what happens at Louisiana Downs
stays at
Louisiana Downs. And I'm not even sure that is necessarily fast enough to get the lead in here.
We'll see if she maybe, if nothing else, ruins the chances of that filly that just moved in, the 8, Maisie G. She's amazing. The 5, definitely a player. Biggest drop for her, lowest level she's run at yet. But War Music, the 7, Raylu Gutierrez. John Ortiz going to be teaming up with Barber Road this weekend in the Arkansas Derby. They team up here in the 5th to start the late pick 5. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
Last to load, Navigational Beacon. They're at the post. They're off. Maisie G and On a Shoestring break best. Half Scout, War Music, and Navigational Beacon with Jerry Dawn between horses. Then Ken Suri, followed by She's Amazing and Rebel Vision. Chai T is second last, and the trailer is Sail Away and Hide. It is On a Shoestring and Maisie G up the backstretch. Maisie G ahead in front. On a Shoestring is second by a length to Navigational Beacon, 3 deep in third. War Music is just in behind, now a joint third and 2 from the front. Jerry Dawn has 4 lengths to make up. She's a length in front of She's Amazing. Ken Suri and Half Scout have 7 to close. Chai T passes those 2. Then 3 back to Rebel Vision, and the trailer is Sail Away and Hide, and the leader is Maisie G. Maisie G and David Cabrera just ahead in front of Navigational Beacon, who's alongside in second. These 2 now match strides 2.5 in front of War Music. On a Shoestring has dropped back. Then She's Amazing, final furlong. Maisie G has the lead. She's now a length and a half in front from War Music in a second. Then She's Amazing to the outside in Chai T. Maisie G. War Music dives to the inside and comes on second. Maisie G, Wars Music, and She's Amazing. Maisie G in front. Maisie G beat War Music. She's Amazing was third. Jerry Dawn finished 4th.
8-7-5 finish. Maisie G, quick from the outset. Able to go gate to wire.
Yeah, sort of let the one on a shoestring make some run towards the inside, but was able to control. And a horse like Warm Music, once again, right? Short price, gets there, just not quite good enough. She's amazing with her chance. Speed kills.
So Daughter of Mo for the money. 4 starts, had not hit the board this time. Gets in front and stays in front. Be able to finish the deal. A couple of wins today for Cabrera. Thomas Vance, winning trainer. We'll have these prices for you when we come back. We're going to talk again more about the Arkansas Derby. We the people. He has been very impressive for Rudolph Brissett in his first 2 starts. Again, his first test in Stakes Company coming up on Saturday. Will that get him to the Kentucky Derby? We'll have a preview next.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including these standout performers.
Leading by 3, Gibberish and Dylan Davis.
Out of a Galileo mare, this dual surface star has sired juvenile stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
If you're looking into racing partnerships, you should know they're not all the same. When you partner with Bond Racing Stables, you become a member of a growing family of racing enthusiasts, all guided by 3 generations of experience in thoroughbred breeding, training, and racing. Share in the excitement at Saratoga and Belmont Park, where we've graced the winner's circle with winners like Giacosa, who was bred, born, and raised here at our Song Hill Farm. Get more than just a partnership. Become a member of the Bond Racing family. 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
We're back at America's Day at the Races on FS2. Our program brought to you by the one-of-a-kind champion sprinter, Run Happy, now standing at Claiborne in legendary stall number 1. Back at Aqueduct, it was Bronx Bomber getting to the front. New tactics, as Andy Serling pointed out, and they paid off here. Get to the front and keep on going. Gate-to-wire win for this 6-year-old son of Take Charge Indy, owned by Michael Dubb. Rudy Rodriguez, and the 5th career win for a horse who has not been to the winner's circle in quite some time.
Yeah, and unless, you were able to be privy to information from Rudy Rodriguez that this is the way they're going to ride him, then it's hard to have really predicted this. Not that he couldn't win the race, but I think it is one of the problems of horses that sort of inexplicably have their sort of tactics changed. He is a better horse with speed, and clearly Rudy knew he was going to have Jose Gomez send him, and it made all the difference. But it's hard for a handicapper to look at this race, as you said, because you look at his PPs. It's been a long time since he used to be a very fast horse, and how did you know that today was the day they were going to send him? It didn't hurt me. I used him in doubles with my sort of ridiculous horse in race number 7. But
can I hindsight handicap?
Sure. Oh, he could win. I mean, I picked him second.
Maybe the fact that they go to Jose Gomez.
Yeah, I
was
understand.
A bit of a tell?
I guess, a little bit.
Well,
but
didn't tell me anything.
Right. Yeah, you want to say that. I mean, he's a more aggressive rider, but yeah.
Back at Oaklawn, Maisie G got to the front and kept on going. David Cabrera, Thomas Vance team up for the win. Amy and Adam King, Austin Gustafson own this filly.
Yeah, and congratulations, breaking the maiden, and Cabrera continues his good riding, and it feels like, where is he in the standings with Ariette? I feel like he's probably in front. No, I don't know either. Well, you were away a week. There's no reason you would know. I'm really the one who should know this.
Our research team's on it.
Our crack team is on it. And, of course, he outrode Rayla Gutierrez.
6-1 over 8-5 over 5-2. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. More ahead. Heavy favorite coming up in the 7th at Aqueduct. There was a scratch. Elegant Speaker, big scratch, comes out. So that makes Betsy Blue even more of a big favorite. Trying to win her 3rd in a row coming up. Features next.
It's 1,000 words fighting back, coming down to the finish. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is one stunning picture.
1,000 words just in front. 1,000 words wins the Robert B. Lewis.
Honorary P is full out now, second on the outside, and they're coming down to the line, and 1,000 words has done it.
Back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. What a weekend we have ahead. Grade 1 Arkansas Derby on the road to that first Saturday in May. Winner of this race will punch their ticket to the Kentucky Derby, and it's the filly Secret Oath, breaking from post position 6, tackling the boys. Among them, maybe the most intriguing 3-year-old we've not yet seen in a stakes race in the country, and We the People.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be horses like this, right, on the Triple Crown Trail. Horses that have been impressive. A maiden win, an allowance win. He's 2 for 2. He won going long in his debut. Not an easy thing, as we talked about, and as any racing fan knows. And he's been impressive. There's no doubt about it. He's run high 80 Beyer speed figures, which for a horse with only 2 starts is extremely impressive. And in theory, he should have real upside. And if he does have upside and he starts showing it, he's not just a major contender in the Arkansas Derby, he's a major contender in the Triple Crown races. I'm a little skeptical, but I'm not going to be shocked when I'm wrong.
Wins at a mile on a 16th. Handled his first test against winners with no problem and took a step forward. Now he's got to try and take another step forward, Gary, tackling Grade 1 company, trying to get into the Kentucky Derby. How good is We the People?
I really don't know how good he is or how good he can be. He's won both those races. He's been restrained early on. I mean, a hard hold from Florent Giroux. Well, he's going to have Flavien Prat aboard for this race, and I think we may see something a little different this time. With Kuvad as the speed in the race, he'll be his target, but with that outside post position draw, he breezed in 47-4 with a huge gallop out last Sunday. So I think that tactically he's going to get a great trip, and the question is going to be, is he good enough? I think he could be that good, but asking at his third start of his career is asking a lot. But Rudolph Brissett, he's handled this horse from the word go with this in mind, so he's prepared for it, and we'll just have to see if he can take this next step forward, guys.
Gary, thanks. It's a blessing and a curse sometimes. You have a talented 3-year-old, and sometimes if you want to get into that Kentucky Derby, you got to move along pretty fast.
Well, that's a great point, Greg, and I think that's one of the reasons I'm a little against him. He's giving up some real seasoning to some horses in this race. Now, sometimes horses are just so talented, they're able to overcome it, and a horse like Curlin did that when he won these races in Arkansas. It caught up to him a little bit in the Derby, but things changed a lot as the year went on. He may be very good, and I'm not comparing him to Curlin. I'm just using it as an example.
Maybe down the line we will. Who knows? Maybe.
Curlin ran like a triple-digit buyer in his debut, and Curlin was highly unusual. Not to say this isn't a good horse.
Rudolph Brissett going to have We the People. He's also going to have Yagiri in the fantasy on the road to the Kentucky Oaks. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the show. Race 7 coming up next in New York. It is our feature. Jockeys staying loose. There's only one man with moves like that on these grounds. KC. That was Kendrick, right?
Yes. I like that. 3-5 here on Betsy Blue. A little short, huh?
With the 3 out.
I guess. Well,
yeah, I'm with you. I thought Rosa Veloce still had a chance. There's Kendrick smiling.
I like Let Me Take This Call. For
he's
whatever
still
that's
dancing
worth.
and he's aboard.
He's a very happy man.
5-1 on his mount here.
I don't see Bourbon Rebellion. She did run her best race ever last time, but I think these horses are probably a little better than Bella Principessa.
All right, we'll get back to her in a minute. We start with Let Me Take This Call from the rail.
She's my selection in this race. She's been facing much better horses, and I think Trevor McCarthy will give her a good aggressive ride today, give her her best chance.
Dylan Davis on Royal Megan at 7-1.
Yeah. She's a fringe player who just seems like she's a cut below these.
Big scratch of the 3 was a major player. Here's Halo City, 5-year-old debut.
I wonder if she's using this race to prep for longer races, coming off a little bit of a freshening, but I actually don't think she's impossible to get a piece.
3-5 is getting a little short here, isn't it?
It's way too short, but she is ultra consistent. 6 wins, 4 seconds, and 11 career starts.
Wow.
She doesn't have a huge figure edge to be that kind of favorite, though.
Bourbon Rebellion. Here's Kendrick for Carlos Martin.
Yeah, I mean, this horse did run her best race ever last time from a figure standpoint. The question is whether or not the competition got a lot steeper today. I think it did.
And Rosa Veloce, she's been first or second in 7 of her 15 starts.
I think she makes a lot of sense, and given the scratch of the 3, she could be the speed, depending on how aggressive the rail is.
She's coming out of, I guess, along with a 2. Probably the toughest race of anybody in here.
Yeah, I think she's very dangerous in this race. We'll see. But I like the horse in the rail. Let Me Take This Call. If we could talk about her for a second. You look at her, she's had some against the track trips, and she's run against Glass Ceiling and Bank Sting and Kept Waiting and Time Limit. These are just better horses than these. And I think with an aggressive ride, and this horse that has back form that would drill this field now. She may be no longer the horse that had that back form, but nonetheless, she's got back form good enough.
Well,
she just went from 7-1 to 5-1.
And she's got the rail today. Is she going to be in front in here?
I would like to see Trevor McCarthy be aggressive with her. It's possible the 7 will be more aggressive, Rosa Veloce, and take the lead from her. But if not, I think she could possibly wire the field. And you have to think that Trevor from the rail will look to be aggressive.
Let's head down to Mig for more.
Well, I tell you, in a race that doesn't look to have a tremendous amount of real speed on paper, I think a lot of riders went into this with the same mindset that they want their horses closer. Because when I'm watching warm-ups and guys warm up as aggressively and not just leave the pony and get in the bridle, I mean go off the first eighth of a mile in their gallop at about 15 seconds, what we call a 2-minute lick, just a bit slower than an out-and-out breeze. That's when they really are trying to get horses to open up their lungs, get their blood pumping, and show speed. And the 2 Royal Megan got that kind of warm-up under Dylan Davis. Certainly the 1 did as well. But to me, she just looked a little bit dry in the coat. The 4-horse, Halo City, looks fabulous. I mean, it's probably too short for her, and there's probably not quite enough speed. But, man, she could not look any better. She got a freshening, and she just really seems to have responded well to it. Speaking with her conditioner, Nat Lynch, she said that she's really come back. Like, the rest has done her a lot of good. The 6, Bourbon Rebellion, she ultimately is going to be my top selection. She got the most aggressive warm-up under Kendrick Carmouche, and he kind of commented to me on his way out of the paddock, they're going to have to beat me my way, which indicates to me he's planning on being ultra-aggressive with the 6, Bourbon Rebellion. The 7, Rosa Veloce, makes a lot of sense on paper and couldn't look any better from a physical perspective. I think it's going to be a chess match out of the gate, and I think the guy who really wants to take command of this race is going to have to be the guy who doesn't flinch. And I think I'll land on Kendrick Carmouche on the 6 and Bourbon Rebellion.
Well, maybe that's why Kendrick was Mr. Happy Feet in the paddock. Had that big smile on his face on Bourbon Rebellion.
Well, Kendrick always warms his horses up aggressively. She's not a speed. I mean, I guess anything's possible. Listen,
that was
you could
slow
ride,
fractions
you could
when she
ride
got to the
any
front.
horse super hard and maybe get there. But I also think it's a misnomer that Kendrick's that kind of rider. I think if you were to look at this winter's races especially, Kendrick's not a speed crazy rider. I think if Kendrick has the opportunity to ride a horse that's the speed and take advantage of it, like any good rider, Kendrick is fully aware of doing that. But I think if you take any kind of close look at his winter, and he had a very good winter, you'll see that he's not a speed crazy rider. He's not winning races because he's, Mr. Speed. He's not early Fires out there, who was a rider a little before your time, Greg, back in the day that just sent everything with good results. But I don't think he's that kind of rider. I think he's a more thoughtful rider, and I think it's unfair. And I'm not saying that you're saying it at all. I think it's unfair if people say, oh, he's a speed rider. No, he's a good rider.
You can do it all.
Yeah. I don't think you're betting horses because, I think like Richie. Richie was extremely good at understanding a situation that he could take advantage of a pace scenario. But Richie won his races with all kinds of running styles. He didn't win a lot of races because he was sending everything he rode. He was trying to take the situation and use it to his advantage. And if it was speed that worked to his advantage, he did that. And I think that's what Kendrick does. But I don't think of him as a speed rider at all. I don't, at least.
Well, in this race, you look at the last start from Bourbon Rebellion, the 6, Kendrick's mount. And, it was on the front end in that race, but that was very slow early, and it just seems she's going to be hard-pressed to beat her. And if she is, it's probably going to cost her late.
Right. Does Kendrick really look at her and think the way for me to win this race is to gun a horse and make her go faster than she's most comfortable early? I don't think that that's going to happen. Maybe it will. But
she has really good races, too, coming from off the pace.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's not like it's a track that's biased and carrying speed. I mean, we've seen speed do well, but weren't they relatively logical horses?
And how weird has this day been? We've talked about it now, starting with race 4, just about every single race in a row, right? Where another horse who's getting way either overbet or underbet.
1 to 2 shots are horses that have big figure edges, and yet the horse who had the biggest figure edge the entire day paid $5.30.
Yeah.
I tried to beat her because I assumed that she'd be around this price.
That was Teleperfect Tail.
But she was the one who had the biggest figure edge. This horse doesn't really even have much of a figure edge. She's the worst to beat, and she's ultra consistent, but she's no 1 to 2 shot. Sorry. I'm trying. Let me take this call. Richie's trying the 6. We'll see what happens.
Sorry, you're trying.
I bet let me take this call. I'm alive in the double with her, and I bet some exactors with her. And I bet against Betsy Blue because I believe she's dramatically overbet.
Here, let's see how it plays out. Coming up last in line, the 7, John Imbrial, the call.
And they're off. Number 6, Bourbon Rebellion, unseated the rider at the start. The field is moving up the backstretch. And the leader here is Let Me Take This Call with Royal Macon racing in second. Rosa Veloce is next in third. Betsy Blue runs in fourth. 4 lengths back to Halo City. And the loose horse is at the back. It appears that Kendrick Carmouche is up and moving around under his own power. The quarter went in 23-3. Let Me Take This Call leads here by a length. Royal Macon in second, and then Rosa Veloce in third. The favorite, Betsy Blue, is fourth, being urged along now, but still 4 lengths from the front. And then it is Halo City as they come for the quarter pole. Let Me Take This Call. Royal Megan in between. Rosa Veloce on the outside and Betsy Blue down towards the rail. And then comes Halo City. As the field moves down for the 8th pole, here's Rosa Veloce now to take over the lead and draw away. Rosa Veloce in front, Royal Megan in second, then Let Me Take This Call, Halo City, and Betsy Blue. It is Rosa Veloce, won here by 4.5 lengths. Royal Megan completes the exacta. It's a photo for third.
7-2, maybe the 4. It was close for third. You saw Kendrick Carmouche unseated from Bourbon Rebellion right out of the gate. And we heard from John Imbrial walking in his own power, so a good sign. And we see the Outrider catching up to the 6.
Yep.
Loose horse right now.
Right. And the 6 is fine, and we hope Kendrick is okay. And we'll hope that he is.
Favorite, I believe, finishes last in here. At 1-2.
We said all this before.
2-5.
We all said this before the race. Rosa Veloce was probably not really considerably less likely to win than Betsy Blue was in this race. Honestly, I don't understand why. This horse is 5-1 and Betsy Blue is 2-5. A good stalking trip. Samuel learned, I think, from his mistake where he moved a little soon. He really should have 2 wins today. Moved too soon on that horse for the notice earlier in the card. I love that Kendrick went to lead, and Let Me Take This Call. She's just not any good enough anymore. She's just not really close to where she was. He gave her best chance in there, going to the front with her from the rail. But this horse was a rocking chair winner, and the only thing surprising is the price, Greg. This horse is supposed to be, what, 5-2? Betsy Blue should have been about 6 or 7-5. Neither one of us is saying she shouldn't have been favored.
No, she
We're
should have
just
been
saying
favored.
she shouldn't have been as heavily favored, and this horse paid twice the price that she should have.
I mean, we both thought even 8-5 was probably short. Her Morning Lion, right?
Yeah, well, I knew she'd get bet because for record, but I don't. In general, you and I look at some different speed figures, but in general, we believe in speed figures, and it's rare that a horse that doesn't have a speed figure edge, which she really didn't have much of an edge, could be this kind of favorite. And Rosa Veloce, just congrats if you bet her. You got $12 on a horse that should have paid $6.
Meanwhile, keep your eyes on the 6 and down to her nose, and there goes Kendrick.
Yep. Well, the best laid plans, right? It's the old Mike Tyson line, right? You have all those plans, and then you come out and somebody punches you in the face.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, horse and rider are okay, but
good news there. No
well,
question.
you know, you worry. I mean, Kendrick got thrown at Belmont in a seemingly nothing event right around Belmont. Was it the race after the Belmont? Was it Belmont Day? I feel like it was the last race, one of the late races, and he broke his ankle. He was out through Saratoga, and not only was it hard for him, we couldn't get rid of him on the set. I mean, so the real unintended victims of that was us.
How good was he on set?
And he's with my friend Tommy Gannon. Tommy's going, I came all the way out to Aqueduct, Kendrick, and you fell off. Look at him, yelling at him. You can see. Look at Tommy getting a little FaceTime here.
He's got his business card
He's
handy.
giving him that wine. He's a sommelier. He's giving him that wine card. I know exactly what my man Tommy's doing.
Well, Kendrick, he will bounce back again. He's had a big day already. He won the first 3 on the card before we even came on the air.
And he got to spend time with Tom Gannon, so he's really living it up today.
7-2, 4-1. We'll be back right after this.
City of Light, a multiple Grade 1 winner with $5.6 million in earnings. Winner of the Grade 1 Malibu, the Grade 1 Triple Bend, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, posting a 110 buyer, and the Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup, posting a 112 buyer. The best son to date of leading stallion Quality Road. City of Light stands to continue his sire's legacy at Lane's End.
Oaklawn Park Saturday. Top-ranked 3-year-olds face off in the $1,250,000 Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, the final leg of the Kentucky Derby Prep Series at Oaklawn Park. Watch and play the Arkansas Derby Saturday live on FS1.
How does horse racing support New York's economy? It's responsible for 19,000 jobs and more than $3 billion in annual statewide economic impact. These good-paying jobs support working families across the state and sustain thousands of small businesses both on and off the track. horse racing in New York means jobs and opportunities now and in the future. We are New York Horse Racing.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
You are watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Let's go back to Hot Springs, race 6 next, start of the pick 4. 10,000 claiming race, non-winners of 3 lifetime. Sprinting, 6 furlongs, and even money on my boss lady on what already today, Gary, has been a big day for David Cabrera.
Yeah, it really has. 3 wins already. This looking for his 4th right now. He's just been on fire, David Cabrera's confidence level is sky high. He's riding with so much confidence, and it's just a snowball effect. People are coming to him and his agent with very, very live horses, and he's not making any mistakes. He puts them in a spot where they can win and is letting the horses do the rest. He's been finishing very, very powerful. And look, he's favored right now to go on and win the championship here because the momentum is on his side. Should this horse be even money? Probably not. Should be the favorite, but it's short price here. I mean, these cheaper races dropping out of a 16 non-3 lifetime in for 10 non-3 lifetime. So he's just on a big high right now and continues to thrive here at this meet. He's actually got a good chance of winning our feature race, the 8th race as well today, guys. Could go in to the weigh-in room tonight with 5 wins in his bag.
I think
step at a time.
I think this horse should be a heavy favorite here. I think once again, the only concern with my boss lady is the lack of speed and the fact that the truth is the truth. The 8 horse is the controlling speed. Truth is the truth recent form is horrible. It's Joelle Rosario, and she's dropping, and she's the controlling speed. So she becomes dangerous in that spot. But based on the last race, I think my boss lady is dropping down, is supposed to be a heavy favorite in this race. We'll see if Cabrera can get her a little more in the game, and so Joelle doesn't have a huge advantage on him.
Yeah, the 2 and the 4, who both scratched out of here, they probably would have been the top 2 choices on the board, right? Or at least 2 of them.
I would think that Living for Today would have been favored. I think would have been favored. I'm not so sure. I mean, you're talking about a layoff with Interclassic, a new face, but was a player nonetheless. You've got major scratches in here, particularly Living for Today. I mean, I don't know. I think that my boss lady is the worst to beat. I just worry that she doesn't have much speed. But I think Cabrera, one of the reasons winning so many races, he's not letting his horses get outrun.
Yeah, we failed to mention that, actually. Yeah, leading rider at the meet right now by, what was the margin? 9 wins.
Yeah. Well, you went away, and he won like 500 races. So well, actually, you're not a bad luck. You're back today. He's won a boatload of races already. But, I think when you left, he was very, very close with Arietta. Last week, he just...
You're welcome, David.
Yeah. You did it for him. You went and lay on the beach just for him.
Yeah, and as for, I'm happy to do it anytime.
I'm available if you can't make it.
As for the truth is the truth. This horse has been beat at a short price last time. Even money favorite, 2-1, 1-2, just over the last 5 starts.
I mean, how are you supposed to trust this horse, right? I mean, it doesn't it feel as though a lot of the money is just Rosario money? They're dropping. I get it. And I'm not going to say this horse can't win because he is the speed dropping down. But based on their recent races, I think the 7 is a far likelier winner. And I do have some confidence with Cabrera that he's going to look and say, my biggest concern is that the truth is the truth, gets a real advantage on me, and he's going to make sure to put his horse in the race.
How big is the disparity in terms of where they're going to be early in this race between the 7 and 8? I mean, there's going to be a large gap.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, on paper, there is a large gap. The question,
which means nothing, but
as we know, as you like to say, they don't run them on paper; they run them on TV sets. And I think that's Cabrera. But then again, how much does he ride the horse? Does it compromise the horse's chances, taking the horse out of its running style? There are a lot of questions there. But neither you nor I bet on horses like the 8. getting overbet because the rider, I mean, this horse's form, as you correctly pointed out, 1-2, 9-5, even money, 9-5, and didn't just lose. It was awful. And price has to be your guide. Talk about the last race with Betsy Blue here. Yeah, I don't think either of us felt she wasn't the worst to beat. We just thought that price at 2-5 was ludicrous, so you're supposed to bet against her.
Can we talk for a brief moment as well about the fantasy? I know a filly that you liked when she.
You like her to Dreamlith? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, when she won the Goldenrod.
I like her.
You do like her again, despite her comeback race not overwhelming anyone.
She was a bit wide in that race, and I think if you look at that comeback race, was it the Rachel Alexander? It was one of those races at
Rachel Alexander.
One of the races at Fairgrounds. That race was essentially a merry-go-round race because the speed pulled up. And the horses that ran 1, 2, 3, 4 were 2, 3, 4, 5 behind the speed. So I think the Dreamlith was compromised. Now, as many people may know, Ida is coming out, the 5-horse, the Bob Baffert, but there is still an abundance of speed in this race. It is very hard for this pace not to at least be honest. She draws the rail. The pace is supposed to be honest. You know I'm all in on my girl Dreamlith. You knew right away. You looked at this race and you said, I don't know who's going to win, but I know Andy's going to like it
when
here.
She won the Goldenrod. What she wanted, yes, she was 9-1 that day.
Yeah.
That's a great call by you.
Thank you.
That's coming up on Saturday. Precedes, of course, the Arkansas Derby. We'll have live coverage of both those races. Let's go to Vic Stauffer. Here is the 6 from Oaklawn.
They're off. Good start for everyone, including my boss lady who broke third. Denali Rocket and The Truth is the Truth. My Boss Lady away in third. Then Beauty Day, followed by Lady Gusto, and the trailer is Warm Beauty. Denali Rocket up the backstretch, a half length in front of The Truth is the Truth. Here's Beauty Day to run up 3 deep for Kelsey Haar into third. My Boss Lady is between horses and Lady Gusto at the rail. Then it's 6 lengths less to Warm Beauty. 3.5 furlongs left to run. The Truth is the Truth puts her head in front. The Truth is the Truth is the leader, just by a head from Denali Rocket in second. Beauty Day in perfect striking position if she's good enough. She draws within a half length of the lead. Lady Gusto and My Boss Lady now have 2.5 to make up. Warm Beauty is the trailer, top of the stretch, many chances. The Truth is the Truth. Beauty Day, a 4 wide My Boss Lady. Denali Rocket at the rail. These 4 stretch across the track, and Beauty Day puts ahead in front, but here comes My Boss Lady in the center of the racetrack, and we have a new leader, and My Boss Lady storms to the front. She's suddenly 2 lengths in front. Denali Rocket and Beauty Day will battle second and third. It is My Boss Lady well in front. My Boss Lady won by 3.5. Beauty Day got second. Denali Rocket was third, and Warm Beauty finished fourth.
That was easy for My Boss Lady.
Well, as we talked about, David Cabrera understood that the potential Achilles heel was getting a little lost in the race, so he made sure to get her in the game. I think Joel Rosario looked at The Truth is the Truth and said, you know what, I kind of may need to nurse this one along a little bit. It doesn't matter what Joel did with her, she's just not very good. And Denali Rocket, who went to the lead, was able to outrun her. Best horse won, and the best horse won easily. Did the 3 battle back for second? I don't think so, but it was game performance.
4, she did not wind up there. Yeah, 4 and counting for David Cabrera. And as Gary mentioned, he's got some more live mounts, including the feature.
I mean, this one is kind of almost over the way he's riding because these other guys, I mean, I guess they could go cold, but the way he's riding, congratulations.
It's going to be on Leading West for John Ortiz, still to come in the feature. Try and notch number 5. Meanwhile, back in New York, Rosa Veloce, Ray Handel, who was another great story of the Aqueduct Winter Meet.
Ray had an excellent meeting here, and he's a very good trainer. Rosa Veloce has done well for him, got a nice trip, and I think, you know, Jalen Samuel has done well too, and Ray has been very loyal to him. You know, obviously I'm sure he works for us in the morning, but Ray's given him chances, and I think a lot of trainers will be a little reticent to give chances to a rider like Jalen Samuel on horses like this. Well, Ray has not been scared to, and he's gotten good results.
5th win, 3rd at Aqueduct for this 4-year-old filly by Girolamo. Blue Streak Racing. Ray Handel owns part of this filly as well. $12.40 for the win. We have the nightcap still to come. We're going to preview the final Derby stop in the Big Apple when we come back Morello has been impressive. Perfect 3 for 3, including that grade 3 Gotham score for Steve Asmussen. Going to throw down with Mo Donegal for Todd Pletcher in the wood. We'll talk about that when we return.
And Shotgun Hottie, oh, it's a photo finish. Is Early Voting, who was on top right from the start, and Early Voting wins the Withers wire to wire. God-eyed, and he's going to win the 117th running of the hopeful
Echo Zulu wins the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies by 5.5 lengths.
Three Chimneys, where dreams are born.
Back on America's Day at the Races program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Maybe the most impressive 3-year-old we've seen on this circuit. Maybe. You can make the argument for Morello. He was very good in that Gotham when he got the furthest distance he's been yet. That was a mile distance. He's slowly progressed from 6 to 7, now to a mile. He's going to get a mile and an eighth on April 9th.
No, I agree. And, you know, he and the Early Voting matching up, when you think of what Early Voting's done in 2 starts and what Morello has done, these are the 2 3-year-old stars of the winter meet here. And I'm not going to disagree about Morello. 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, a mile. Each test he's passed, and he's passed them in even better fashion. He's improving with every start. Toby Sheets, the New York assistant to Steve Asmussen, has done a tremendous job with this horse. I mean, you saw how easily he accelerated by Todd Pletcher's horse. And while the runner-up for Todd Pletcher may have some distance limitations, he's not a talented horse. And I'm not big on the he could have won by more, and I'm not saying he could have won by a lot more, but he couldn't have won more easily in here. I mean, Jose barely asked him in that race, and I think it's going to set up a very, very strong matchup between he and Early Voting, with others weighing the wings, particularly potentially Mo Donegal, who won our Remsen here by the dirtiest of noses. But I don't see how you could knock this horse. And I don't look at him and think he's a horse that figures to struggle with an extra furlong around 2 turns. What about him suggests that he's going to have that problem?
Did not look like it the way he was going in that great regatta. Meanwhile, Mo Donegal, Todd Pletcher, as a 2-year-old, this horse, he won back-to-back starts. He battled it out with Zandon in that memorable stretch duel in the Remsen.
He doesn't strike me as a horse that you have any concerns about the distance. His greenness bothers me. He showed greenness in his maiden win. He showed greenness down in Florida at the wrong kind of racetrack for a horse of his running style. He got a perfect trip when he got it done here. A lot of people, myself, Richie, we feel he should be disqualified in this situation, and Zandon should place first. I think Zandon ran the better race, a second-time starter, but that doesn't take anything away from Mo Donegal. He's still a very good horse. And I think the question with him is, Early Voting is very fast. Morello's going to have it. He's going to be the target with Morello behind him in all likelihood. do those two hook up at some point earlier, and can Mo Donegal make a run and pass the two of them? I wouldn't give up on Mo Donegal being a potential Derby horse for Todd Pletcher.
And just this race is so big because it has Chad Brown, it has Todd Pletcher, it has Steve Asmussen, all with big-time contenders going in.
Oh yeah, no, this is a very, very interesting wood. I mean, there are other players in this race, but this is the big three. Your early voting in a year with horses with extreme speed on this Triple Crown trail, his pace in the Withers is as fast, if not faster, than anybody has shown. And for a horse that's only raced twice, once in a mile and eighth, this horse has accomplished a lot. But Morello has accomplished a lot in 3 starts as well, and he's been a little bit faster based on his Beyer speed figures. This is a very interesting matchup between all horses that have a chance in the Kentucky Derby.
Got a New York bred in the race too, Barisi. I know Dylan Davis very excited to ride him. He said he's continued to progress. It's 100 points to the winner, guarantees you a spot in that starting gate. First Saturday in May. Here's a look at the 100-point Derby preps that remain, and as you said earlier in the program, right now it's probably Epicenter who's the leader going into the Derby, but we have these races to sort that out for us.
Right. I mean, I don't think anybody realistically thinks that the Jeff Ruby Stakes is going to have an impact on the Derby other than perhaps taking the starting spot away from somebody who might be more deserving, but nonetheless, it is one of the 100-point preps. But Churchill owns Turfway, so they get to determine that.
And we've got one more coming up at Aqueduct. The nightcap, New York bred maiden claiming sprint. 6 furlongs. Boom, boom, kaboom. Chance number 24 to break his maiden. Meanwhile, Kendrick Carmouche still trying to get that first riding title in New York. Starting off the right way. 3-win day. Won the first 3 on the card. He's got a chance for number 4 to close out the day on Crostata, BC. We'll be back.
Perfectly timed. Idol gets up under Joel Rosario to win the big gap. It's known agenda for St. Elias Stable.
Race and the race, scintillating performance in the TBG Delmar debutant.
And Clariere will win the cotillion.
Down to the wire. Who's going to win it? It's Mala by a neck.
Curling, the classic sire.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Run Happy was at #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
My favorite race is Cigar Mile 2020 True Timber. I know how much my horse loves the sloppy track. I got outside position, you got speed horses, and you the horse that can sit right behind them. Jack Stinson, he texted me that morning, Kendrick, what do you think? I said, don't worry about it, brother, I got you. My horse break good. I want to send him a little bit so I can let him relax a little bit going down the chute. Down the backside, I wasn't worried about the kickback. Even within the 16th of a mile at the gate, A couple times, dirt hit him, he didn't even mind. He just shake his head and he just kept running through it. At the 3/8 pole, I asked him and he moved up so sweet. I mean, he was right in my hand the whole time. And once I got to the 1/4 pole, I just pulled the trigger. You know, I figured if I pull the trigger, it's gonna be hard to beat me from here to make up the ground on a sealed racetrack. When I got to the 8 pole and I started asking him, I mean, you can feel the horse responding.
True Timber is going to pull off the upset here in the Grade 1 Cigar Mile.
For my mom, my dad, and my wife and my kids, I know how much it meant for them just as much as it meant for me, you know. The fist pump at the wire explains it all. And I'm saying to myself, man, I think this is a Grade 1.
Was this a Grade 1? Oh, this is my first Grade 1. Oh, we got out Grade 1, baby.
Coming from Louisiana to win one of these races, the Cigar Mile, and the African-American jockey, for myself, for my family, for the people that's out there that's seeing this and never thought it could be done. It can be done if you work hard.
And there is Kendrick getting a leg up on a horse who definitely is contender in this nightcap coming up again. Won the first 3 on the card to kick off this spring Aqueduct meet today. And just a tremendous rider, but tremendous personality as well, and always has a smile on his face.
Right, and dumped to the start of the last race and right back to ride in race number 8.
Here is Timmy, me boy, who drops down to the lowest level he's been at yet.
Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't done any running, but he does get Lasix and a rider change.
Jose Gomez, 5-pound apprentice, will be aboard. Moon's the limit. Lasix today for his 4th start.
I like that name. It's kind of a clever name there for Tom Morley. Gets Lasix.
Crostada, BC, and Kendrick for Chris Englehart.
Yeah, the potential speed in here, but stamina may be a bit of an issue.
In some ways, kind of the most interesting horse on the card. 0 for 23, as you mentioned, though, earlier on, just 0 for 9 on dirt. He's even money.
He may have just found a feed he almost can't help but beat. But even money is a tough proposition, and I picked him, but would never bet him at even money. I thought his odds to the 6 would be much closer.
This horse, his sprints, which he's getting back to doing today, the 5, they're pretty good. Or at least they're better than his longer races.
In relative terms, I agree. The fastest race he ever ran was that 6-furlong race back in October, gave him a chance.
Limit up. Wow, 6-1 on the probably likely second choice in the race.
Yeah, I mean, he's a preposterous overlay. I don't understand why he's the same price as My Inspiration. He's coming out of race against much, much better horses, and he's got the speed to be close. I think he's supposed to be about 3-1 in here.
CB loves a fight, Orlando Noda.
CB may like a fight, and I assume that's Central Banker, not Chad Brown. But he doesn't like to fight on the racetrack. This is my long shot, the 8.
Court Banker, Raul Mania, rider change.
Ran against horses in a completely different world. Bold Journey and Golden Code will be running in the Wood Memorial. He's my throw-in bomb in the Super.
Dylan Davis, My Inspiration, the 9, went by.
He's inspiring somebody, but not me.
And Boyne in the back?
Bo in the back.
Bo in the back, thank you.
I'm assuming. Well, his
Gelding.
form has declined since he was claimed away from Tony Dutrow, but he is a new gelding, as you said.
Back to now 4-5 on Boom Boom Kaboom. He's been, well, he's disappointed every time he's been out, but he's been favored on several occasions.
Your comment is funny because I remember Harvey Pack, I once said, you know, often there, but never gets it done. And Harvey said to me, that's why he's a maiden. I'm not faulting Eric Cancel because I fault him for not being aggressive. It just turned out being aggressive in this race kind of blew up in his face a little bit. The time before that, I don't fault Eric. He went to a dead rail, but I think it was the first race and we hadn't had a dead rail. There's no way Eric could know it, but he ended up on a dead rail and he ran fine being Ghost Mom 3 races back. And the reality is you almost want to separate his recent races from his career form. He's gotten better and he's improved in the dirt. Having said that, he is the likeliest winner in here, but taking 4-5 on 0 for 23 horses in your life is not exactly a way to make money at the racetrack. And had I known he'd be 4-5 and the 6 limit up be 6-1, I would have picked limit up. I mean, it's the same situation the last race. Logically, the 5 and 7 were the main 2 contenders. Well, the 5 was 2-5 and should have been 8-5, and the 7 was 5-1 and should have been 2-1 or 5-2. So you have to bet the 7, and in a value play, in my opinion, the 6 is a much better bet at 6-1.
Crazy that horse is at 6-1. Let's go down to Mig.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. Now, from a physical perspective, Boom Boom Kaboom looks great. He warmed up great in the racetrack. He's supposed to win. He is the fastest horse in this race, but they are herd animals, and some horses are very happy to run with the herd, not away from the herd. And you start feeling that way about Boom Boom Kaboom. You know, it's 4 seconds, 6/3. He seems like he's a bit of a professional maiden. I believe he's supposed to win. I'm with Andy, 4 to 5. I'm sorry, I went to the 6, limit up. I think he looks great. He's taking a meaningful drop in class from maiden allowance to maiden 25. And if there's going to be an upset, I think he's the most likely upset. And he just took a big ton of money, guys. Went from 6 to 1 to 7 to 2 in one shot.
Someone just hit send on their Naira Bets account.
It's a little scary when you and I and Richie are all on the same wavelength, because as Richie was saying that, you and I were looking at each other going, wow, somebody just made a big bet on the number 6. And I think it's more of an evening factor, right? I mean, this horse is probably supposed to be 3 to 1 or 7 to 2. None of us, all three of us, we're not saying the 4 shouldn't be favored. Boom 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 should be favored in this race. But tough to take even money. Maybe 8 to 5, 3 to 2.
And even then, still, you can't feel good about his chances. I mean, he's supposed to win. This probably. Would you say this is the easiest field he's met?
Probably, potentially. Here's when you're comfortable, when he's in front by 5 at the 8th pole. You feel like, I think he probably found the right field. Because horses like Boom Boom Kaboom, I think this gets to what Richie was talking about, horses being herd animals. He's not a horse you want to get in a dogfight.
No.
Now, maybe he's just too good for these. And the 6 is a bit of a fuzzy because he hasn't done a lot of running. He's just run against much better horses. And he's shown some speed. He hasn't done no running in those races. But maybe none of these horses can compete, and suddenly Eric Hansel is going to look around, and he's going to be 4 or 5 lengths clear at the 8th pole, and he's going to get it done.
Now, how home did Lady Commander look against Salute the Flag at Oaklawn?
Well, there you go. Right. Yeah.
It's never over till it's over.
That was the
bad beat of the day.
That was no doubt. It's somebody's going to have to find a race and show me a tougher beat than if you bet that horse as the maiden race earlier, 12 to 1.
So even money, and no question that Boom Boom Kaboom, the 4, deserving favorite in here, even though he's 0 for 23. But as Mig pointed out, maybe just a horse who does not want to go by others. But still, you look at what were you going to point out?
Well, what I was going to say is, see, now at even money in 5 to 2, I don't think the 6 is a significantly better bet than the 4. It's a better price. But I think those are, well, now it's 4 to 5 and 3 to 1. Maybe 3 to 1's a little better. But I think it's closer to what they should have been, 6 to 5, 5 to 2.
If you had to throw in a third horse and taking the board into account.
My crazy bomb is the 8, Court Banker, who ran against legitimate stakes horse in the debut, drops down, coming off the layoff. That's my weirdo horse because maybe that horse can't run at all. But I would take a shot, and that's the horse. I'd use the 4 and 6, and I'd try to get the 8 somewhere in 3rd or 4th in tries or supers. I think that's kind of the weirdo to get in there. It's my goofy idea.
Maybe a race where just chaos happens here.
Mm-hmm.
Did we look at the Will Pays?
No, I'd be very surprised if Boom Boom Kaboom isn't 1-2. You know what I mean? He's pretty reliable to run reasonably well. He's just not reliable to win. But I think it'll be very hard for the 4 not to be 1-2.
The 1, the 2, the 5, the 7, the 9, and 10.
Not covered?
All carry the pick 6. Could the 2 shock everybody here? Let's find out. Johnny Brielle, the call. Nightcap from New York.
The spring meet. And they're off. Boom, Boom, Kaboom is going out for the lead, but quickly passed by Cristata BC. Cristata BC is now the leader. Timmy Me Boy has moved into second. Boom, Boom, Kaboom, and Moon's the Limit. They're right together, 3rd and 4th. Bo in the back is racing in 5th. Then it's a break of 4 lengths to Limit Up, who's moving up on the outside in 6th. My Inspiration is next in 7th, followed at the rail by El 24. And farther back in the field, CB Loves a Fight and Court Banker. The quarter 22 and 4/5 seconds. Cristata BC leads by 3/4 of a length. The odds-on favorite, Boom, Boom, Kaboom on the outside in second. Now 2.5 lengths to Timmy Me Boy, who runs in 3rd. Limit Up has gained some ground on the outside and continues to move up as the field comes off the turn and enters the stretch. It is Boom, Boom, Kaboom on the outside, and Cristata BC towards the rail. Boom, Boom, Kaboom is the leader. Cristata BC in second. Limit Up is running in 3rd, followed by Timmy Me Boy. Coming out there was Cristata BC, seemed to impede Limit Up in the meantime. Boom, Boom, Kaboom has opened up, and Boom, Boom, Kaboom on his way to victory and out of the maiden ranks. Cristata BC crosses the finish line in second, and Timmy Me Boy was third.
That stretch run again.
Boom, Boom, Kaboom gets it done with a major assist from Cristata BC, veering out severely into the oncoming Limit Up to 6.
Yeah, and it's not Kendrick's fault when this horse did this. And it did feel like the 6 Limit Up was making a run to maybe get to Boom Boom Kaboom. He's moving into third right now, and we'll watch this. I just think the 3 is tiring dramatically at this point. Let's see what happens. I think Kendrick wanted to get off the rail to get out. I don't know what happened there.
Almost looked like, yeah, he was trying to get off the
Well,
inside.
I think he wanted to go to the rail because the 4 had passed him, and he thought, you know, sometimes I'd have to see the head on. I don't know how clear he was. I don't know. It does feel like he got in the way of the 6 rally, though.
He finished second. You got to think he's going to be coming down from there.
Well, let's. I can't tell. I don't, you know. I'm curious what Richie thinks.
All right, let's head down to Mig. Mig, your thoughts on what happened here?
Yeah, it just appeared to me that when he was being passed by Boom Boom Kaboom, Kendrick Carmouche wanted to alter course, alter paths, and it seemed like his horse might have kind of reacted to the kickback as he tried to cross over to a clear path and then overreacted and completely stymied the rally of the 6 Limit Up. I mean, and honestly, very, very close that he almost clipped his heels. That could have been a real tough situation, and thankfully.
Oh, yeah, he's coming down, Greg.
I mean,
you're right.
really,
You're dead.
But he absolutely tried to steer him out. He headed the horse out to begin with, and then the horse, I think, overreacted to it, Greg.
All right. Well, that's a scary situation right there. Could have been, well, it could have been a lot worse. Luckily, nothing happened at all. In the end, Boom Boom Kaboom, he's not involved. He's your winner. Finally, 24th career start, he breaks through. Got to believe this 3 is coming down, though.
Yes, I think that angle that we just showed is a very damning angle for the 3.
So very unofficially, 4-3-1-5. That 3, you would think, going to be DQ'd here behind the 6 horse. As we go back to Oaklawn, and $20,000 claiming route race here at a mile and 16th. There's Bear Alley, speedster from the rail.
Yeah, sorry, let me get myself together. He does feel like the speed in this race. Whether or not that's good enough to get him home remains to be seen.
Morocco, we'll see next. John Geraldo for Greg Compton.
He's been around New York at different times. I think Mott had him, Maker had him, but his recent form not good.
VIP Who, 3 consecutive second-place finishes.
That's what they say when Greg and I walk into restaurants and somebody suggests that we're VIPs. He's not impossible. His last 2 are pretty good.
5-1 on him. Most Satisfactory and Giovanni Franco for Diodoro.
Yeah, so you never want to knock and throw out Diodoro. Second time off the claim for him, off a little bit of a freshening. But it just feels like he's got to really get faster.
Wow. 3-5.
Okay, here's the...
On Rosario for Norm Cassie.
This horse is a major figure overlay and way the horse to beat. My concern with Roaming Union is he's best on the front end and he's not getting the lead in this race. That's the Achilles heel, potential Achilles heel.
Looking for 8, David Cabrera looking for 5.
Yes, he is. David Vance stretching out in the dirt. This is one stretch for sprinter routes, just 2 for 30 over the last 5 years.
Fredonian, Ramon Vasquez.
Well, somebody's a fan of the Marx Brothers. Is Fredoni, I feel like, is Duck Soup, which I believe is the first Marx Brothers movie I ever saw. It's one where Harpo jumps and then swims in the lemonade.
I just got into watching these movies.
Oh, God. Well, you got it. With William, you got to show him. You got to have William watch all those classic Marx Brothers movies. Those are great movies.
Saw the one based in the department store.
Oh, the big store.
Yes.
Yes.
Great
big store.
one.
Sure. Love those
David's
movies.
Gem, long shot on the outside, 20-1.
Yeah, Mitch Levitas was actually our director, was in the big store. Yeah. I would say Animal Crackers, Captain Spaulding.
Those, I'll put them on the list.
Did you know that Caddyshack was written as a Marx Brothers movie?
No, I didn't.
Absolutely. I believe that Ted Knight was the Margaret Dumont character, I believe. She was always the foil in that. But Caddyshack is a Marx Brothers movie. That's a fact.
A lot of great deleted scenes from that movie that never made it in.
Really?
You can find online. We got the Arkansas Derby again coming up this weekend. Can the New York bred Gary do it again off that Rebel win?
Look, he received as good a ride and as good a trip as any horse can receive at that level that day. And I don't want to take anything away from his victory because he was impressive in doing it. But if you look at a couple of the other horses that were in that race, Ethereal Road, he was wide both turns. And then we already talked about Barber Road and the trip that he had in the race. So he's going to have to repeat, get the exact type of trip that he got in the Rebel Stakes and improve again, in my eyes, to be able to win the Arkansas Derby on Saturday, guys. And I'm not taking any credit away from the horse. He's a very, very nice horse. But I don't know if he can handle that extra 16th of a mile that he's going to have in the Arkansas Derby.
We will find out in a couple days' time in a race you will see here. Live coverage again Saturday. FS1 begins at 4 Eastern time.
I think we're just on continuously from Saturday night, Sunday.
We got a long one Saturday.
We need a third TV for a little Final Four action. But it's a lot of fun stuff, good stuff. And, of course, we got a big crew down at Oaklawn. Lafitte and Kyle will be down there. Maggie Wolfendale down there.
Gary Stevens still going to be there?
Gary, of course, will be there, as he's been holding down the fort the entire meet.
We're about the only ones who won't be there.
No, well, it shows where we are. We're the A-team, Greg. That's why we're here. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I don't care what anybody says.
It's going to be fun. I hope you join us. Meanwhile, back to this race. 3-5 on, again, a horse who's going to face pace pressure.
Yeah, that's, well, here's a question. Rosario really knows that. I mean, you look at those 2 wins at Saratoga, right? Joel threw him on the lead, but I just don't see how he gets the lead from Bear Alley. Do you? Bear Alley's fast.
Very quick horse.
And that's a problem. And I mean, I'm not saying he can't win, but that's my concern. My concern is that he is a better horse when he can control on the front end. From a speed figure standpoint, he's just too good for these horses.
So if that does happen, if that plays out, who benefits the most?
I guess VIP who? Would you say?
Yeah.
VIP, I mean, you always sort of want to throw in Diodoro with most satisfactory, but I think VIP who is the backup horse. You missed a tremendous performance by Pretty Birdie for Norm Cassie in their in the stake over the weekend. She ran a 95 Beyer. Jonathan Kinchin loved her that day, and he was dead right. She set a fast pace, and she galloped in there. I believe the fastest figure by any horse in her jet class. It's a filly, any filly.
Wow.
Because I think Echo Zulu's run 94s. I don't think she ever ran a 95. Let me tell you, she was dominant. I mean, she runs those kind of races. We're going to see a horse that's a player going forward to Saratoga. Tess Prioress.
Exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. And she'll be a big story in Saratoga if she can be effective in those races.
Won on opening day last year in the Schuylerville in those Mary Lou Whitney Stable Silks. John Hendrickson.
Yeah, arguably. That was the biggest. I mean, obviously the World Cup races, got all the attention. But as far as the races in America, because there weren't really a ton. I mean, I think Epicenter was huge. That was a big deal. But she was a big story. That was quite a performance. Happy for Norm.
Again, you saw that promo. Got the filly taking on the boys Saturday in that Arkansas Derby Secret Oath.
I feel like Jay Privman had written, David Privman, the Daily Race Form. I don't want to get this wrong, but I thought he said that this is the first time since the points that a filly may have points heading towards the Derby. And I don't think that Wayne Lucas is committed to running in the Derby, but I think he wants to keep that option open, and we'll see.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
well, it's $1.25 million, and she's going to be favored. Now, she is $600,000, and she would have been a very heavy favorite in the fantasy, but I can't knock him for trying, and it certainly adds a lot of intrigue to the race.
No
and it gives
question.
you and I something to talk about.
Well, that's going to be fun. And, I mean, I haven't looked at a lot of the other figures yet from that race, but from what you've seen, she deserves to be favorite?
I don't think it's wrong. Yeah, I think she's favored. And I know, I know that, you look at thoroughgraphs and not Ragozins.
Yes.
I believe Jerry Brown, who does thoroughgraphs, has told me that he considers her a major player, so she must be good on his numbers. But I know in talking to him a little bit, I haven't talked to him about it in maybe a few weeks, but he's pretty bullish on her chances, or was last I talked to him.
It is going to be a fun Saturday. Hope you join us. Again, 4 Eastern start time on FS1. And that final stop for the Derby out at Oaklawn Park coming up. Right now it's the 7th, and Roaming Union, the 5. How much pace pressure is this one going to take from the 1 Bear Alley? That could decide this race. Vic Stauffer. The call here as we have, I believe, just what? A couple loaded. Still the majority of this field to get in the gate here.
I'm leaving after this, Greg.
And Miggs joining me. But you're back with me early tomorrow, right?
I will be back with you tomorrow. Same thing tomorrow. And then you and I are going to be spending a lot of time together here on Saturday. Well, actually, I'm hosting early. You'll host after me, but you and I will be on from 6 until 8:30.
Yeah, I may as well remind everyone now. 1 Eastern start time tomorrow.
Yes. No, on the show?
That's what I have.
I don't believe that's correct.
All right.
3 to 6:30 tomorrow.
3 to 6:30.
That's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's Bobby's fault. It's our producer. It's
glad we sorted that out. That's why we
You
did
had
it.
me scared for a second over here, Greg. I was getting a little bit worried.
Got to come in a lot earlier than you thought.
Well,
let's go to Vic Stauffer. Here's the 7th.
They're at the post. They're off. Roaming Union broke beautifully, and so did Looking for 8. Bear Alley's asked for speed at the rail, and David's Gem is on the move in the center. And now David's Gem and Bear Alley will jointly set the pace. Fredonian is next, then VIP Who. At the back of the pack are Most Satisfactory and Baracco. David's Gem wants that lead, and he's going to cross and clear. David's Gem to the backside, a 2-length lead on Bear Alley in second. Roaming Union secures a good striking position. He's third and a tugging third at that, 2.5 off the front. Then it's 3 lengths further back to Fredonian, VIP Who, and Looking for 8 between horses. Another 4 back to the 2 trailers, Morocco and Most Satisfactory, as they leave the backstretch, or run up the backstretch, and David's Gem has the lead. Bear Alley going to make a move through from the inside. David's Gem a neck in front. Bear Alley is second, the same margin, and now David's Gem is back in front by a full length and a half. Roaming Union has just taken over second, and he's after the front running long shot. Then it's 2 lengths to VIP Who between horses Looking for 8, and here's Looking for 8 and David Cabrera up into a joint third and on the move after the leaders, and we have a new leader around the far turn. It is Roaming Union, and he is going to be double tough. Roaming Union to the quarter pole has a 3.5 length lead on David's Gem. VIP Who has cleared into a third, now into second, then comes to the outside in Morocco, but Roaming Union has lengths to work with past mid-stretch, and he is in complete command. Roaming Union, a 7-length advantage. Morocco is running into second, then VIP Who and Most Satisfactory, but it is Roaming Union, and he's double digits in front. Morocco second, Roaming Union in front. Roaming Union won by about 10. Morocco was second, VIP Who third, Most Satisfactory finished fourth.
No problem at all today coming from off the pace.
Sometimes they look better than them on paper, and they look like that on TV sets as well. And that was the case.
7-year-old gets his 7th career win.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's really just sort of turned his act around, right? This summer at Saratoga, the light went off and it stayed on. Congrats to Norm Cass. He hasn't had a lot of starters, Norm, but I think that's his. I think he's got like 10 or 11 firsts and seconds in under 20 starts. So he's doing well with the horses he has.
3 to 5, and when you get that look back from Joel, that's a good sign in the stretch. A couple of times, and there's no one close. Short price warranted again here. We saw the feature coming up from Oaklawn. I'm going to say goodbye to Andy Serling. We will see you tomorrow, 3 Eastern start time on Friday. And, yeah, Saturday's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait.
I agree. A lot of good stuff to come. Look forward to. I agree. And it's just the good stuff is really just starting, you know, with full day shows starting next week. And, of course, the Wood here on a week from Saturday. So a lot to look forward to, and have fun with Richie the rest of the show.
Yep, Meg going to join me after a short timeout. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll preview again that big Saturday out at Oaklawn. Frank's Rockette looking for a little revenge after being beat as the favorite in last year's edition of the Carousel to even money to Edgeway.
A Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes and added a Grade 1 with turf credentials in the Maker's Mark Mile. From ages 2 to 4, this versatile son of Warfront proved his class at the highest levels. Now his first foals have arrived. War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. 24th time the charm for Boom Boom Kaboom. There's more going on in this race as well with the horse behind him. But good for him to finally graduate.
Yeah, he finally got it done. I thought Limit Up had a chance at him, too, at the point he was stymied by the eventual, I guess, third-place finisher who was subsequently disqualified.
Yeah, well, wound up second,
Oh,
right?
he did hang on for second. Wow, okay, I'm sorry.
He did, yeah. Crostata, BC. Kendrick Carmouche. So talk to us. What's going on here? White blinkers.
All right, you're going to see Kendrick starts to angle out, and then it kind of, his horse overdid it. He pointed it out, and this is what happens when you shift the weight or the direction of a 1,000-pound animal when they're tired. They don't have full control of themselves. And, I think Kendrick thought maybe if he put him in the clear, the horse would find a bit more, but it just obviously overdid it and really stymied Trevor McCarthy's mount.
Easy decision there.
I think it was a no-brainer. Honestly, very fortunate that Trevor didn't clip his heels. And for people that don't understand what clipping heels is, when a horse reaches and their front hoof catches the hind hoof of the horse in front of them, what happens a lot of times is, because horses run with a little bit of cleat on their shoes, it'll pull their leg out from under them. It's basically akin to walking in the dark and not seeing the top step, and then it just disappears.
And look, these guys compete with each other every single day. They're in the same room together. They're not out there trying to hurt each other, but they're trying to win. But are there words now being had in the jockey's room?
Well, I think Trevor certainly was upset, and rightfully so, but Kendrick didn't mean it. And like you said, these guys understand. There are guys that are always going to take an edge and ride a little bit dirty, and those are the guys that maybe more than words are exchanged. And then there are guys that sometimes mistakes happen, and to me, they just look like a pure mistake.
In the end, does not affect your winner at all. Boom Boom Kaboom was clear after being 0 for 9 on dirt, 0 for 23 overall. Breaks through and gets the win. Carousel Stakes, part of a tremendous Saturday card coming up on Arkansas Derby Day for Belmont and Frank Fletcher Racing Operations. Even money favorite, beating the Carousel last year. Trying to pick up the 9th win of her career. Part of that team, Kathy Howard, who has done it all in this game, including a trailblazing turn as a jockey at a time when female riders were given very few opportunities in this sport. Today, Howard continues to leave her imprint on the game as a racing manager for Frank Fletcher.
In horse racing, Kathy Howard is a lifer. She's worked as a paddock judge, placing judge, stakes coordinator, even a stint as a trainer following the death of her husband, Tom Howard. And she's been racing manager for Frank Fletcher Racing Operations for over 20 years.
It is true.
But many don't know about her trailblazing days when she was known as Kathy Moore, a promising female jockey making a name for herself in a world foreign to women.
Seems like horse racing is still a man's sport. Is it any easier for you being a female jockey?
Well, from what I can tell, it's pretty rough. I don't know if it was any harder, 5 or 6 years ago, because I wasn't in the position I'm in now.
But yeah, it was tough. I was so shy. I wasn't shy when I was on a horse, but I was so shy growing up.
See,
And I'd be at somebody's stable to work a horse, and if I was a few minutes early, I was too shy to even go into the office or the tack room. If there was more than 2 people in there, I would just stand out there by the door until they came out. Look at this, was my grandmother. That was my grandma. Isn't that something? My grandmother and grandfather, they were Russian, Babadito. They were the first ones that ever took me to the racetrack. That was a big deal.
In 1980, at the age of 23, Kathy became more than the first woman to win a stakes race at Oaklawn.
Despite becoming the first female jockey to post an Oaklawn handicap victory, Moore didn't say anything about women's liberation and equal rights amended. I never said anything like that. It's just 41 years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. The Gallant Serenade, right here at Oaklawn. I had a speed horse, and so I think I did set the fractions. He was all speed. There's an old gentleman named Jim Hughes that trained, and he rode me. I remember his barn was over there by the gap. He was kind of jumping up and down. And when I was galloping back, he said, "You're a real juryman now. You did it, Kathy, you did it." There's Jim Hughes. That's the guy that was saying, "You made it as a juryman." And he's long been passed, but I'll never forget that. It's just a tough game. I've never really thought about it, except it's kind of like I know what I did, and I know the trails that I've hopefully blazed for some other females. I'm a very humble, quiet person, so, it makes me feel good. It was almost like a past world. And then when I was married to Tom Howard until he died, whenever we won a race, and it was always we, because we would work together, it was a really big, it gave me like almost the same rush, exciting. And now with Mr. Fletcher, and we win a race with a homebred, especially Frank's Rocket, it's almost the same. He's my boss, but he's also my friend. And we have the common interest, the love of horses.
Well, that's a neat story. I mean, a lot of people know about the Julie Crones, Patty Cooksees, Donna Martin brothers, and here's someone that is not as forefront in terms of trailblazer, but was during a time when it was very difficult to even get on a horse as a female rider.
Yeah, and even just not having their own locker room. I think, in the beginning they would put like a trailer as an afterthought for any female riders. They really had to show people and knock down those barriers that they were more than capable. And then all the women that followed just reinforced all of the hard work that they put in to get there.
Well, she is part of Frank Fletcher Racing Operations. We're going to see, again, Frank's Rocket coming back, making her 5-year-old debut. She was so good as a 3-year-old. So good that she's about 5.5 to 1 in the Breeders' Cup Sprint against the boys.
Yeah, a very fast filly, talented filly. Yeah, interesting. I remember years ago having conversations with Alan Jerkins, the late, great Alan Jerkins, and he would talk about fillies being really good at 3, and then as 4-year-olds maybe not having that same form, and most of the time they go off to the breeding shed, but a lot of them rebound and come back even better at 5. So I applaud certainly Frank Fletcher for sticking with this filly. She's closing in on $900,000 in earnings. He's obviously enjoying campaigning her, and just as she said, a homebred too makes it even more special.
Yeah, be fun to watch. That's part of a tremendous card on Saturday. We're going to have live coverage pretty much all day long. You don't want to miss it. We start on FS2, 4 Eastern. We start on FS1, and that's going to be where you'll see the Arkansas Derby. We're going to take a timeout. Speaking of the big one, Unoho, the New York bred, Rebel winner, surprised at 75-1. Looking to do it again, but Barber Road, can he step up for John Ortiz? He was closing maybe the best of anybody in that race.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Oaklawn Park Saturday. Top-ranked 3-year-olds face off in the $1,250,000 Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, the final leg of the Kentucky Derby Prep Series at Oaklawn Park. Watch and play the Arkansas Derby Saturday live on FS1.
How does horse racing support New York's economy? It's responsible for 19,000 jobs and more than $3 billion in annual statewide economic impact. These good-paying jobs support working families across the state and sustain thousands of small businesses both on and off the track. Horse racing in New York means jobs and opportunities now and in the future. We are New York horse racing.
The Thoroughbred Owner Conference is back in person for the first time in 3 years and is being held in the new 1863 Club at Saratoga Racecourse, July 25th and 26th. Attendees enjoy 9 ownership topics with an impressive list of speakers, along with social events to meet other owners and network, an opening reception at the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, a conference dinner, and an afternoon of racing at Saratoga. It's the 2022 Thoroughbred Owner Conference, July 25th and 26th. See you in Saratoga.
Back on America's Day at the races, and you do not want to miss Saturday. We got the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, final stop at Oaklawn on that road to the first Saturday in May for Derby qualifying. Coverage starts on FS1 at 4 Eastern time. And it is going to be a tremendous day of action. Not just that race, but the entire day is just packed with talent. We the People, can he step up in his first start against Stakes Company? And Barber Road, he was closing with huge interest in that Grade 2 Rebel when he just missed against Unoho. John Ortiz, Raylu Gutierrez, they are going to team up with more on him. Let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, it's a smaller field than what he faced in the Rebel Stakes, and it was down inside. He didn't have a bad trip until the running really started at the 3/8 pole, and I won't even call it a bad trip, just a little bit unlucky. I just hope that they don't change his strategy or change his game plan. John Ortiz has said that he wants this horse to break sharper. He doesn't necessarily want Raylu to rush him into the first turn, but he said he would like a more solid break. Well, that kind of counters. If he breaks sharp, he's going to be more forwardly placed. Maybe that's a good thing, but I would hate to see his style change a whole bunch from what we saw in the Rebel. Like I said, I thought he was a little bit unlucky with some indecisiveness coming into the stretch. And what Raylu, he was looking for room. He started to go out, then he dropped back to the inside. You see him have to wait and just steady for a couple of strides, and he winds up getting beat a half a length. So I think this extra 16th of a mile is going to suit him as much as anybody in the race. And the thing I like about this horse the most is he's a professional. I mean, he shows up every time. He's the working man's type of horse, and I think he's going to show up in a big way for the Arkansas Derby on Saturday, guys.
Gary, thanks. I mean, that's interesting because this horse has been so effective. He hasn't won, but he's run 3 consecutive big races in a row, all in Triple Crown races, coming from very far out of it off the pace. But this is a horse that used to have, sprint speed.
Well, what I always say, all good horses possess one thing. They possess speed. It's how they learn to dole out that speed, how they use it. I like the fact that he's changed his style. This is a great shot. I like these jockey cams. You could see that he's working in company. He broke off behind his stablemate. You'll do that with good horses to keep their focus, keep their attention. Horses are herd animals. They like to run together. And I think it also gives people the perspective of when you're working horses in the morning, there are other horses on the track. You have to contend sometimes with horses galloping a little bit close to the rail or horses getting in your way. So you've got to always be very alert, very aware of where everybody is. But I thought this work was good. And you like the fact that you see he's next to his workmate here. As he put his hands down, he started going away from him on the gallop out. And I just like the very professional, solid kind of work. And I can live vicariously through those jockey cams now.
Ride looks a lot more choppy from that camera angle.
Nah, it's like a magic carpet. You just
What do you think about his chances on Saturday?
I think he's got really good chances. And I like the fact that, Gary said he's honest. He shows up. He's a blue-collar horse, brings his lunch pail, goes to work. And he's also making his 4th start this year. He has a lot of foundation. He's gained points. He would be nice if he gained bigger points, obviously, in the Arkansas Derby, but it's a build-up to the Kentucky Derby. You want to peak at the right time. I think he's shown that he belongs, and he's continually progressed, and he has a lot of foundation.
Still, at least from how he's run to this point, he needs to move forward. But this is the time to do it if he's going to win on Saturday.
But we talk about 3-year-old horses this time of year. They change a lot. These are like high school athletes going to become college athletes. The best athlete starting high school isn't necessarily the best athlete coming out of high school. People change and develop, horses change and develop, and you see a lot of that progression this time of year.
LeBron was always the best.
Well, some of them are just better than the rest.
We're going to have it for you on Saturday. Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, 100 points to the winner. And we got these 100-point Derby preps still to come, which this is probably going to settle, or it will. Who's going to be your favorite going into the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, I mean, we still have, obviously big preps to come. I was very, very impressed with the Louisiana Derby winner, Epicenter. Again, a horse that possesses speed but showed a different dimension, sat in the pocket, and a horse that has been showing that progression we talk about.
We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, got 10 minutes to post in the 8th at Oaklawn. Mile and a 16th, 50,000 starter allowance, the feature on this Thursday card. Leading west, David Cabrera looking for his 5th on the card. Stay with us.
The return of Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence surges to the front.
It's Yoshida in front. Yoshida takes charge at the top of the stretch, and Yoshida wins the Turf Classic.
Here comes Yoshida, storming home in the center with Gunnevera. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the Woodward!
The perfect balance. Yoshida.
Son of Warfront, the sons have done well. War Command, the Factor, Declaration of War. There have been a number of sons now that seem to be getting it done. He himself was, again, versatile like Kathy Boy. I mean, he won the Preakness.
But nothing stood in his way. War of Will won the Preakness.
He came back at 4 and won a grade 1 on the turf, going a mile. You know, he's got a big page that's from one of the good New Yorkos families.
Look, he was a grade 1 stakes horse at 2. He was a classic winner on dirt at 3. He won a grade 1 on turf at 4. He offers that versatility. He looks a lot like Warfront with a little more stretch and a little more leg. And I know a lot of the knocks against the Warfronts are that sometimes a little small, a little racy. If he throws Warfront's ability and talent with his kind of physique, I think we'll be in really good shape.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. The feature from Hot Springs is up next, approaching the 5-minute mark to post 50,000 starter allowance mile and a 16th in a race that was completely changed here. The 2, the 3, the 4, the 6, the 8, all scratched in this feature race on the card. And with those scratches, we have a 3-2 favorite in the 7 leading west, David Cabrera, again looking for number 5 on the card. We start our post parade with Notary.
Notary making the second start off the Ingrid Mason claim. Doesn't have a lot of speed in a race that appears to be paceless.
Sol Del Sur, we jump to the 5 for Norm Cassie.
A horse that I think can be forward raced. Norm Cassie's been doing a good job. And, you know, if they're not winning, they're running well.
Leading west, here's been the hot hand today, David Cabrera.
And I think this horse could potentially possess the most natural speed and get things a little bit easy on the front end.
And Tis Rye Time, 8-5. Outside, he just won with an 84 Beyer speed figure.
Yeah, that was an impressive run. Then was claimed by Tom Vanberg. Kind of made that long, extended slingshot kind of move off the turn, but continued. I thought it was a big run last time.
Did you purposely try and use Vic Stoffer's line there? That was good.
No, actually I didn't, but, you know.
Perfect. 8-5 on Tis Rye Time. So all these scratches in this race, Gary, how does that change things here in the feature?
Well, Richie said it best. The pace is not there. Nobody has any speed. But I'm going to try and beat leading west with Tis Right Time. I think Ramon Dominguez is going to be aggressive leaving there, and I think he's the one who's going to try and control things early on and taking gate to wire in here, guys. Could be wrong, but it changed the whole complexion of the race with the 5 scratches.
All right, we will see Ramon Vasquez on Tis Right Time from the outside. You agree? Going to try and take advantage here with his speed?
You know, I think when you get a small field where every rider in the race is aware of where every other horse is in the race, it becomes a chess match. And I think that you've got to be aggressive in a small field and kind of weed out who's got a plan and who doesn't. So, I mean, I think it definitely becomes much more of a rider's race. And it's interesting. How many times, Greg, do you see in small fields horses get trouble trips? It's because guys can key on other guys.
Yeah.
You can't get lost in a big like you can in a bigger field.
It is amazing how that happens more often in these compact fields. Let's take a look at Leading West in action. This is back on March 6th, his most recent effort. He was favored in this race. He wouldn't win, but he gave it a run for the money. He lost by a half length.
Well, see, I think this is a little bit problematic because I think he had every opportunity to win, and he does sport 3 wins, 6 seconds. When a horse starts compiling more seconds than wins, I start to question their desire to run past horses as opposed to run with horses. But sometimes the best thing to do with those horses is put them on the lead because you've already broken through that plane.
Do you give him a bit of a pass? I mean, Oaklawn, it's outside sort of been the better place to be, and he was down on the inside.
You know, I think it's a fair, question. But, man, didn't he have every opportunity? He looked like he was supposed to get it done. When you're the favorite and you get heads up, I don't care if you're inside or outside, you're supposed to get it done.
I mean, this horse was in 16 non-winners of 3 life 3 starts ago. And then I know it was a 20 claiming race, 2 back. It was a really good 20 claiming. Kershaw's a really nice horse that beat him. Then he's in a 50,000 starter allowance. So he's kind of moved up in terms of the type of competition he's been facing pretty fast.
Yeah, no doubt. But you know what? To me, that almost reinforces what I think about horses like this, that they kind of run to the level of their competition. That if they're with slower horses, they kind of run with the slower horses. They're with fast horses, they run with the faster horses. Not necessarily, it's not necessarily urgent for them to be the herd leader.
He's got 6 seconds and 20 starts as well. 10 of his 20 starts, he has been second or third.
Yeah.
And now favoritism shifts outside to the 9 Tiz Right Time.
Yeah, and another horse. He's got 2 wins, 4 seconds. He is coming out of some pretty sharp-paced races, so Gary makes a good point. Potentially, he could be the horse that would be involved. He's another horse here. I mean, he kind of made this long, extended, we talked about it, run from the outside and just continued. Horses in general have about a quarter of a mile run. So when you see a horse do this, start their run midway of the far turn and continue, I'm always somewhat taken with that.
He was impressive against this group. Francisco Arrieta rode that day. That was for a different barn, who's having a tremendous meet, Chris Hartman.
Yeah.
Now he's in a different barn, Tom Van Berg. New rider as well, Ramon Vasquez, who's extremely capable, but we'll see.
Yeah, but, you know, listen, Tom Van Berg's having a good meet as well, winning it better than 17%, son of the late, great Hall of Famer Jack Van Berg. You know, so I think, yes, he's coming from a barn that's very hot and very good, but going into a good barn as well.
And not often that man right there in those purple and black silks, we don't mention his name a lot on the program because we usually say his name a lot, but I don't think we've said it yet today. Ricardo Santana Jr., he's going to be on Sol del Sur. He was no match for Leading West and Notary last time out. That was his first start of the year.
Yeah, it was his first start of the year. Maybe shook off some ring rest, added a little bit of fitness layer. You know, Ricardo Santana is a good aggressive rider. One of his strengths is his strength in finish. When you watch him finish on a horse, he's a rider that demands from a horse. He doesn't ask as much as he says, no, this is what we are going to do.
Do you think he's one of the most fit riders in the country?
Absolutely. He is so fit. It's interesting when you see these guys like down by the jockey's room in just a T-shirt without the silks all covered up. They're smaller than average men. They're all shredded. They're ripped. Their fitness level is incredible. And he is one of the fittest of that fit group of athletes.
See if he can make a little noise here on Sol del Sur. But, wow, even money now. All the late money going to Tiz Right Time. Outside, 2 for 17. Lifetime mark in the new barn for Van Berg. Compact field with the scratches. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Sol del Sur broke best from Tiz Right Time. Leading West was bounced around just a bit between horses. He'll sit third, and Notary is fourth early. Sol del Sur, the boss, into the clubhouse turn. So it's Sol del Sur, 3/4 of a length from Tiz Right Time in second. Leading West is now in third, and he's 2.5 from the front-running Sol del Sur, and then 4 lengths last to Notary as they turn into the backstretch. Norm Cassie trying for back-to-back wins, and Ricardo Santana Jr. has Sol del Sur in front. Sol del Sur is 3/4 of a length in front of Tiz Right Time in second. David Cabrera going for 5 wins on the day, has Leading West third, but not for long. Here comes Leading West to move through inside of Tiz Right Time and put his head into second, and these two are now half length behind Sol del Sur. And Notary is even closer in fourth. He's only 2.5 from the lead. 3.5 furlongs left to go. Sol del Sur gallops along in front. He's got a length and a half now again on Tiz Right Time in second. Leading West is back to third, but he's still got a good chance from there. He's 2 from the lead. Notary is the trailer. Sol del Sur asks for more around the far turn. Tiz Right Time is second. Notary has just taken third. And here's Notary. Leading West is fourth and last. Top of the stretch. Sol del Sur just a half length in front of Tiz Right Time in second. Notary threatens to run a big one in third. Top of the stretch, Sol del Sur is set down. Tiz Right Time is now a length and a half back in second. Notary is third and Leading West is fourth. And now Sol del Sur is running away. And now he's 5 in front. Tis Right Time going to try to hold Notary for second. 2 in a row, Norm Cassie's Sol del Sur. Sol del Sur won by 5.5. Tis Right Time was second. Notary third. Leading West finished fourth.
Seems strange that we hadn't said his name this afternoon. Now we will. Ricardo Santana Jr., Sol del Sur, second off the bench for Norm Cassie, a win.
Well, all the conversation before the race was a race that was devoid of early speed, and the rider that took control of the race early, Ricardo Santana Jr., gets it done. 10-strike racing. They understand the value of speed and allowed this horse to use his speed to his weapon. And you could see around the far turn, other riders were starting to ride, and Ricardo was still sitting. He was going to have something left. And Sol del Sur really kicked away. Go back and watch the trip of the one Notary. Kind of ran up into, I think, a tough bit of a blind switch going to the far turn. Had a steady, lost momentum, swung out and made a second run. Notary ran better than it will appear on paper because of how far he was beaten.
Back-to-back wins. Trainer Norm Cassie. Sol del Sur. Son of Medaglia d'Oro to victory. And there's Ricardo Santana Jr. Gets his first winner on this Thursday card in this compact field, 4-1. Well, the prices for you when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2.
Start spreading the news. If you're looking to win in New York, then breed in New York. To War Dancer, the millionaire son of Warfront, and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Breed to a proven performer, the #1 second crop sire at the Saratoga meet with multiple winners at Belmont and Aqueduct. Earn double the New York Breeders' Awards and participate in the New York Stallion Series with $2 million in purses. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York. Visit wardancerstud.com.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Run Happy was a #1 second crop sire by graded stakes winners and earnings. Run Happy is represented by Smile Happy, the Kentucky Derby individual future pool favorite. A leading dirt sire and now with an exciting Kentucky Derby hopeful. Call Bernie Sams now and book your mare to Eclipse Champion Run Happy right now. Run Happy standing in stall 1 at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
First and foremost, it's a family operation. It's fun to be a 4th generation president of Oaklawn and to see how we've grown. We've been in the same location. We haven't had to move across the street. That's kind of neat. It is about racing at Oaklawn. We tell everyone, especially our new employees, it's racing first. My great-grandfather, Louis Sella, built it in 1904. Charles Sella took over after him. John Sella took over after him, and then we had another Charles Sella. My father take it over, and now we have Louis Sella. We like keeping the same names in the family. It helps with monogramming. I would sit in on meetings even at a young age. My father would take me and say, you know, be quiet and sit in the corner, and I'd do and just listen. And throughout my life, I've been involved with racing, and it's always been really a part of me until finally when it was time to move in and commit. You can look at our media guide, which is published online as well, and look at that history. It's remarkable. We've beaten Prohibition, and we've gone through a couple of world wars and Vietnam and depressions, recessions. Truly, the reason we're successful is for the reasons I just said, that we've been able to evolve, we've been able to change with the times. Beyond that, it's racing first, and really the oldest family in racetrack management in the United States. And we're very proud of that, and we're proud of that legacy. And we think that racing is successful and exciting and has a great future if you believe in it, and if you put your heart and soul in it, and you go forward with that mentality. We see that with our employees, we see that with our trainers, our horsemen, we see that with the horse owners that fly in from coast to coast because of the excitement that we have here at Oaklawn.
Greg, I think it's one of the things about Oaklawn Park is that they have evolved and changed with the times, but they've been able to maintain that timeless quality. When you're there, you feel the history of the place, and the racing is tremendous.
And, you know, they've continued to evolve, adding the casino, the hotel, best view of a racetrack anywhere in the country. It's pretty special. We're going to have great coverage coming up on Saturday with that Arkansas Derby card, which is incredible, top to bottom on that Saturday card in Hot Springs. Feature race goes to Sol del Sur, 2 in a row for Norm Cassie, and Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard for this win.
Horse got to go to lead in a short field, set very moderate early fractions and kicked away readily. Norm Cassie, now his 5th win of the meet, but horses have been hitting the board, if not winning, running 1, 2, 3, and the trainer can always prepare them. Then he gives the keys to the car over to the jockey and hopes he gets the right trips. He certainly got the right trip here.
Yeah, I believe 15 of his 20 runners at the meet have hit the board.
So sometimes when a trainer isn't winning at a huge percentage, but they're hitting the board, that tells more of the tale. And was this the longest price in a short field? Our good friend Ernie Munich, that's one of his strategies, longest price in short field.
$10.40 for the win. Was not the longest price, so Ernie did not win here.
I'm still gonna go. I like that eating. So
nightcap to close out the card. Maiden claiming event for state-bred runners, 6 furlongs. Unfortunately, will be off the air by the time they run this race, but you can go to Naira Bets and catch the conclusion of the card. And it looks to be somewhat wide open. A Mammoth Spring going to take plenty of support in this race.
Yeah, it looks very wide open, and I always listen. I have such a positive feeling for John Court, and I think he's the ageless wonder, still getting it done, and he's got a mountain there that I think has a chance. So I got a rooting interest. I root for John Court.
Feel so bad for John Court on the worst beat we saw in a long time earlier today. He looked home free in the stretch and just got nailed by that odds-on favorite.
But it happens, and one of the strengths of John Court is he allows horses to run underneath him, like free running. He gets horses to carry themselves further. Yes, he got nailed there, but it's worked for him a lot in the past.
Yeah, he's been one of the. There are a lot of good storylines at this meet, but 61 years old.
Yeah.
700th winner at Oaklawn back in early December.
Yeah.
He's having a tremendous meet, so he's been one of the great stories at Hot Springs this year.
Well, absolutely. Keeps himself in great shape. You have to be at that age to be able to compete and still compete as successfully as he does. I get a big kick out of watching him.
Well, the big one on the road to the Kentucky Derby again coming up on Saturday, and a lot of good storylines here. Of course, the filly is the biggest of the big storylines, trying to win her 4th in a row. And we'll see what she does in here against the boys, going a mile and an eighth for the first time in her career.
I like her a lot. She's got a lot of foundation. This is her 7th start of her life, her 3rd start this year. She's 3 for 3 at Oaklawn. And she's overcome adversity, Greg. She hasn't had the smoothest trip. She's had to wait for room. She's had to steady and wait for room. And then as big as she is and as long striding as she is, she finds her stride again. I think there's a lot to be said for that. Her stride is very reminiscent of her sire, Arrogate. And the fact that she can stop and start, I think bodes
Speaks
really well for
athleticism,
her. Yeah, she's been very impressive, and I'm going to be really excited to see her take on the boys. They got their hands full with her. She's going to be tough to beat.
Big-time talent in her own division. Can she carry that forward against the boys on Saturday, going the furthest she has ever gone? Among the intriguing kind of new faces, who at least, in stakes company for the first time, We the People, Rudolph Brissett and his son of Constitution.
Yeah, listen, this horse has been very impressive. He's a horse that possesses natural speed. He creates his own trip. The outside post should not be an issue because he's fast enough to get over. And when we see horses win by big margins, sometimes we're just taken by the margin. But when you watch a horse's stride, this horse is striding through the wire. He's not winning by a big margin because the horses behind him are stopping as much as he was running. His stride was straight and strong all the way through the wire. And he is his third start. It's a big step up in class, but he's been brilliant up to this point. He doesn't have the foundation of the filly, and he hasn't shown the ability to overcome adversity yet. But with that post, he's probably not going to have to face adversity. He's just going to have to step it up against tougher horses.
So one swing to try and get into the Kentucky Derby for this lightly raced son of Constitution for Rudolph Brissett. Flavian Pratt will ride. Does get that outside post. And you look at this board, I would think Secret Oath, probably going to be the favorite. But Doppelganger, We the People, and Her might be pretty close.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have a prohibitive favorite here. I do think that the filly will go off as your favorite. Then you've got honest horses like Unoho, who has one eye, worked out an incredible trip to win the Rebel. And, I have a take on it. He rallied outside a couple times. He's missing his inside eye, couldn't see his competition. Rallied inside in the Rebel, could see his competition. Horses being herd animals, he kind of went ahead and dropped his head and finished the deal. I think it's important that he works out a trip where he can see the competition.
Yeah, and look, he got a very good trip to win that race. It was
Absolutely.
a big performance. He was 75-1, and to give him all the credit in the world. But can he win again? Yeah, without getting everything kind of going his way.
No, but you know what? He keeps outrunning his odds. Every race, he keeps on showing up. I like consistency.
Saturday, you'll see it live on FS1. Coverage begins 4 Eastern time for the Arkansas Derby. We are back tomorrow on FS2 at 3 Eastern start time. We will see you then. It was Rosa Veloce in the feature at Aqueduct. Betsy Blue got really way over bet, trying to win her third in a row. But Rosa Veloce close to her on form and in figures, sprung the upset. Sol del Sur, back-to-back wins for Norm Cassie, and the filly, can she do it against the boys on Saturday? We'll see you tomorrow.